pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roll with planet. Water towers, fly! Flight downside, speed off. Speed off.
Yikes. You bet. Okay. We don't need any more of these.
All right, folks. Let me know if you can hear and see me right now. We are here for yet another episode of Texas Tank Watchers. I got the hoodie on and everything. I'm John Galloway with NASASpaceflight. Nobody needs to see me, I guarantee you that. But I mean, we go through all the trouble to make this thumbnail and stuff, so we might as well show the screen right here. We are going to be live from Boca Chica, Texas today. We have SpaceX. They've got SN6 Starship prototype on the launch mount. All the paperwork's in place to attempt a hop up to 150 meters. We don't know if that's going to occur, but hope everybody's good to go. You hear you loud and clear. Nice headphones. Yes, I switched over to these. The Sony headphones are actually really nice. They're sort of low profile. Not sponsored by Sony, but anyways, we are going to be live here, and we have the live feed. You can actually hear it in the background, the ambient audio right now, ready to go. So let's hop over and see what we're getting live from Boca Chica. There it is. We do have that ambient audio a little bit in the background there. I can bring that up and down as we talk. That was expected. That is not here. That is out there is where the audio is. So you're getting that ambient audio from the site itself. You'll hear some birds chirping. You'll hear some backup noises and all that sort of stuff. So we also, of course, we never do this by ourselves. It's always a team effort here at NASA Spaceflight. Doing the live feed out there from Boca Chica Village. Of course, we have the one and only Mary. Give it up for Mary.
I need to bring down the ambient a bit.
Okay. There you go. It's down even more. Give it up for Mary out there at Boca Chica, operating this camera with the fantastic zoomed-in view of SN6 over there on the right-hand side of your screen. Is that it? Bringing down the ambient? Is that a little bit better there, y'all? Yeah, there we go. Much better. All right. This is the ambient audio is a little bit high there, so now it's good to go. But you can see we have SN6 over there on the right-hand side of the screen. It is a Starship prototype. It's missing a lot of important pieces. It doesn't have the nose cone up at the top. It doesn't have the fins on the bottom. It's only got one engine tucked up underneath the skirt, but it's still a prototype. Tankage and engines for a Starship. Also on the stream today, besides Mary, who's bringing us this fantastic live feed, we've got Michael Baylor. Michael, how you doing, dude?
I'm doing well, and hopefully we're going to see a hop today. It sounds like the winds are a bit strong out there, so I'm not sure if it's actually going to happen or not. We're just going to have to wait and see. And like Doss is mentioning, we don't know exactly when a hop is going to happen today. We're just going to go live and see what happens. The pad is currently clear. I'll bring up the timeline. We're currently at the pad clear status. Next up, we're looking to hopefully see the tank farm come to life. The methane recondenser behind those 3 water tanks just to the bottom left of SN6 is usually where we see the first signs of activity. So we're keeping an eye on that and hoping to see some activity here soon. The pad has been cleared for over an hour now, I think. So hopefully they will start getting into the final hour or so to countdown here shortly.
All right. In chat, let me know, can y'all hear Michael there okay as well? We have all sorts of different connections, all sorts of different microphones, all sorts of different stuff, and y'all are part of our remote production team. If something doesn't sound quite right, let us know, and we'll click on things to try and make it better. But 5x5, you hear Mike just fine? All right. Good deal. Yeah, so that's right. Hey, Joan Cohn, there is a lot of atmospheric movement and wind out there today. One of the biggest constraints, whoa, a slight earthquake is as well. I'm just kidding. That's not an earthquake. One of the biggest constraints we have here is the weather out at Boca Chica. It seems to be deteriorating over the course of the day. We're expecting perhaps some challenging wind conditions later that may prevent the hop from happening. As of right now, everything that we know, SpaceX is marching towards this attempted hop, and we will see if they actually get it going. But hopefully, like Michael was saying, we start to see some of that tank farm activity. We start to see the recondensing venting, if that's what that is, behind those tanks. We start to see the vehicle venting. hopefully we hear that police siren. Remember, the real thing that we're standing by for here is to hear that police siren. Boca Chica residents, Mary, it's almost synonymous. Like Boca Chica residents and Mary, she's really one of the only Boca Chica residents left out there who doesn't work for SpaceX. So if Mary hears the siren, that is an indication that we're T-minus 10 minutes away from SpaceX trying to do something big. In this case, a hop, flying that grain silo, water tower, whatever you want to call it, big silver stainless steel stack of technology, science, whatever. Over on the right-hand side of the screen, they're going to try to hop that up to about 150 meters and then land it safely on the landing pad that's I think it's a couple hundred meters away, right? So I see some.
Yeah, I think it's about like 150-meter translation. So 150 meters up, approximately 100 to 150 meters of translation as well.
Yep, absolutely. So they are trying to hop this. We are going to see if they can do it again. We do not get specific countdowns. They do not tell us, okay, it's going to happen at this exact time, etc., etc. So we can only go by the activity that we observe on the tank farm. Also, we're live here today. This is the hosted stream where we're sort of doing some commentary and stuff. So if you have a question for us, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. If you're over on Twitch, you can tag me there as well. Y'all know me as Das over on Twitch. But that is what we are doing today. All right. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Hopefully that's a little bit better.
And Mary's saying on our Discord right now that the wind is picking up, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens, but as of now, the wind is a concern, so we're going to have to hope that the conditions improve.
Yep, absolutely. And somebody was saying that I needed to bump my audio up just a bit, so I did bump it up a little bit, so I'm a little bit evener, more even, balanced, I think is the correct term, with Michael there, so. All right.
Yeah. A lot of people are also asking about the people. There were some people that were walking down the road right next to the launch site after the pad was clear. We don't know who they were, what they were doing. They were definitely not SpaceXers, so I'm sure they saw that with all their cameras at the pad, and presumably we'll make sure that they are clear before they do any testing.
Gotcha. All right. So I'm seeing here, here's another question. I assume we can zoom out. So today, we're not going to stream the hop from this perspective. Mary's running multiple cameras. I think she's got like 3 cameras out there. And this is one of the completely zoomed in cameras, the tight end camera. Before the hop, when we hear that siren, we're going to back off to a wider shot, a fixed perspective, so you can see the entire hop from there. But while we're hanging out to get that tank farm activity, instead of having the way zoomed out view, we're going to be using this camera. And hopefully in the future, we'll be able to have both those cameras online at the same time. Right now, we're sort of choosing one or the other. And while we wait, we're going to be on this super zoomed in view. So that is our plan for that. Don't worry. I don't think we're going to try to stream the hop from this perspective.
Yeah, that would have to be a very accurate. You would have like no margin for error if you were trying to track it with this. So we're definitely going to go out to a wider view, and I think that's actually, for this type of hop, is definitely the best way to go, because you get a really good perspective of how the vehicle flies. If you have like a tight shot, you can't like tell how much is traveling.
Yeah.
And you also get to see all the dust flying. So it's really cool.
Yep. Alrighty. So a couple super chats coming in. We're able to do this because y'all keep showing up. Rough Rider Show, love you guys. Thank you for the super chat. Multi Space Industries also showing up. Good morning, everyone. Shame about Starlink. That's right. That Starlink launch was scrubbed this morning due to weather. I think it was only down to a 50-50 shot from a weather perspective. Was it 50 or 60%, Michael?
For the launch tonight, the Salcom launch, it is 60% no-go. So
60% no-go. Gotcha. And
yes.
Starlink this morning was 50-50?
Yes. They didn't even get to that weather percentage, really, to play a factor. The weather from early this morning / late last evening was so bad they could not safely roll out the rocket. So they never even got to the launch weather. They just didn't get to prepare because the weather was so bad. So that's why the Starlink launch scrubbed.
Gotcha. So that's a good observation there, Multi Space Industries. Thank you for the super chat, and that Starlink launch getting pushed back, I know, but we still have lots of opportunity here. Maybe we will see SN6 launch. Maybe we'll see Salcom launch. Rocket Lab also doing some stuff. So even what a day where one launch is scrubbed, and we still have an opportunity for 3 other launches / hops. I'm not going to get into a religious debate on whether the hop is a launch or not, but. Anyways, lots of cool spaceflight stuff to watch today. Also, Amdi, thank you very much. Let's hop this silo with the 20 euros. Thank you, Amdi. And then Nick Duggar, a new membership. Nick, we appreciate you there. Hey, also over on the other side, Dr. J, long time no see. Thank you so much for the 53 months hanging around my stream over on Twitch. And then Squish Chin as well. Thanks for the 25 months. Hello, my favorite people. Squish Chin, we appreciate you. Thank you very much for the support. And Tharius as well. And Tharius, how are you doing? And then Mutter snuck in there too. Ah, yes. So, still not seeing any activity over there, Michael. Have I been running my mouth too much and missing stuff, or?
No, I'm guessing they're gonna be waiting until the wind clears down. So, I mean, or wind calms down. So it's hard to say. We can't really predict when that's gonna happen. I don't know. I mean, we're not meteorologists, so I assume SpaceX has meteorologists on the team that are looking at this carefully and trying to decide when the best time is to do the hop. But Mary has said that the wind is quite strong right now, so who knows how long it's going to take to calm down.
Gotcha. Checking in with the weather here at the NSF Weather Center, which it's just me. I'm not a meteorologist, but I like to call myself the NSF Weather Center whenever I have the weather up. There were some some rain showers, not really thunderstorms, but there were some rain showers coming through earlier. Let me see if we can get that on the screen really quickly. Looking pretty clear right now. Looks like Port Isabel Weather Center's offline. I was trying to get the wind speed and direction. Brownsville currently saying the winds are south at 12 miles per hour. The heat index, though, is the thing that kills me. I don't know that y'all can see that on the screen, but the heat index at Cabro, which is the Brownsville airport, is 100 degrees. So you can see a little bit of the wavering on the screen there. Some of it is from wind shake because we are getting winds that are continuing to pick up, but a lot of it is from that heat at 100-degree relative temperature. That is nothing to sneeze at. So one more time, thanks to Mary, thanks to everybody who's out there trying to capture this today. It is a scorcher, I will tell you that much. Does that sound lame when I say that? It's a scorcher out there. Like, that sounds lame. Whatever, it's hot. Be happy that you're able to watch from your air-conditioned comfort if you are in a place that installs air conditioning in buildings.
And Jack also is out there at a different location trying to get us some footage, and he is also reporting that from his location the winds are increasing. So wind is right now getting worse, which is not the direction we want it to trend, but hopefully at some point this afternoon we will get a condition where they can hop. This is a very long window they have today. It lasts until, well, the road closures last until 8 p.m., but the TFR, the temporary flight restriction that is used to keep the airspace closed and safe from planes, that lasts until midnight. So the road closures generally are kind of flexible. I'm not sure if Mary can hear me. Mary, maybe you can like text her in chat. Did you get a alert notice? And if so, what time did it end at? Because I'm wondering if the actual window is 8 p.m. or 12 a.m., given the discrepancy between the TFR and the road closures. Usually the road closures are flexible and the TFR is not something that can be amended very easily.
Yeah, gotcha. So what is it out there? It's 10:43 a.m. right now, and the road closures go all the way up to 8 p.m. local time, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
hopefully we won't be here that long. I assume if it gets to that point, we'll probably take a break at some point. But for now, we're going to give this a shot, and hopefully we'll see something happen soon. I think the wind in the afternoon is probably going to increase looking at the forecast on my phone, but maybe that will indicate they're going to try sooner rather than later if they can at all today.
Gotcha. And Mary reporting in the back channel that the piece of paper she got, that road close or that notification was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on her notice, I guess. So
yeah, so that's probably the firmer window then.
Hey, let me grab this. I never did display that the Nick membership there. So Nick, thank you so much. Also, Bill Sugden. I'm gonna go with Sugden. Just a few quid to keep you going. Tossing 5 curly L's into the kitty. Sandeep Ramakrishnan. I'm gonna go with Ramakrishnan. Sandeep, thank you for the new membership. Harry Young, Das, the one person NSF insert subject here center. I'm the NSF weather center. Welcome to NSF live stream control. I'm also the NSF. I don't know what else I should call myself. Any other ideas, Michael?
I don't know.
Troubleshooter, technical person. I don't know.
Firefighter.
Firefighter. There you go. Emergency response team. One of those things. Hey, Cannon Cocker, thank you so much. Thank you for the $2. Have you guys ever been caving? If you're asking about have we done a live stream from a cave, I've done a live stream from a submarine, and I've done a live stream from the inside of an aircraft carrier. They're kind of like man-made caves, but I've never done a live stream from inside of a cave. I have the gear to do a live stream from a cave. I've got, 400 feet of cable I could go down into a cave and leave the broadcast tower outside. But I haven't done that yet. If you know any cool caves, let me know. Not sure how that would be related to spaceflight, but I'm game. Whatever. William, thank you so much. Keep up the fine work. Durai, 100 of those wacky little, whatever those indicator things. One day I'll remember what those things are. The hop is launch if the New Shepard is a launch. Am I right? The hop is a launch if New Shepard is a launch. That seems sort of fair, I think, Durai. I get you where you're coming from that. And then Dave Thomas, thank you so much for the new membership. Duda Direct, welcome back as well. Dangerous Safety, how you doing? It was streamer and fixer upper, Jonathan said over on my other chat. And Harry Young, thank you as well for the 45 months there. I think I got all caught up. So again, y'all, if you're just joining us, thank you for joining. I am John Galloway with NASA Spaceflight. I'm joined today by Michael Baylor here at the studio, and then Mary Boca Chica gal out in the field bringing this live stream view from Boca Chica, Texas. We are standing by for a hop of Starship SN6, that big tower you see on the right-hand side of the screen. That is a Starship prototype. It contains fuel tankage and engines for an eventual Starship. Starship, of course, going to have more cargo area up on the front, a big nose cone. It'll have some aerodynamic surfaces that we don't see on this prototype, fins and sort of control surfaces for when it does that belly flop, flight maneuver, etc., etc. So this is a Starship prototype, and today SpaceX has given residents of Boca Chica Village notice that they may try to hop this thing to 150 meters. So you think about it, it's about 5 or 6 times the height of this. When we get up to closer to the hop, we'll zoom this camera out, we'll go to a wider view, and we'll show you the entire hop. We won't just show you the ignition and then it flies off the top of the screen. So we do not get exact timings from SpaceX. They basically declare an entire window that's, well, sometimes between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., we're going to try to do this test. But we do not know. We don't get any official word from them whether they're progressing towards that, where they are in their countdown, whether they're troubleshooting issues. All we can do here at Texas Tank Watchers, we like to call ourselves, is watch the video feed that we have and observe different things. So right now, you can see in the upper left-hand corner, it says the pad is clear. We can look at the pad and we can see that there are no vehicles there. There are no humans there. When they do these sorts of tests, they do not have human beings nearby. In fact, I think the closest human beings are over a mile away, right? Yeah. I think it's like 1.4 miles, right, Michael?
Yeah, 1.5, because that's the road closure.
That's the hard road closure there at the Y in Boca Chica. So there are no users, human beings at the pad. We know that the pad is clear. We are standing by to see what we call tank farm activity. So that tank farm contains all sorts of cryogenic liquids. It's got liquid methane there. It's got liquid oxygen. Those are the two primary things that the vehicle tanks up with. Also, it's got some liquid nitrogen that they use to purge things. And all of these things are normally gases. And in order to make them liquids, you have to either compress them a lot or make them really cold. And the best thing to do is actually compress them and make them cold. So because these things, these liquids are very cold, and that South Texas heat, all the humidity out there is warm and humid. When those two things mix together, we see vapors start to come off the tank form. You'll see condensation forming and blowing off the sides of the tank, and we'll also see venting happening as they open up valves to equalize pressure in the different parts of the tank here, or the tank farm here. And so what we want to see next is tank farm activity. We want to see what's going to look to you like smoke coming off of various parts of the tank farm. That is actually completely nominal. It's not smoke. We are looking for these vapors to form. And once the vapors start to come off, we'll see the prominent direction of the wind. We'll see them start blowing in one direction. I have a feeling that some of these vapors are going to be sticking straight out to the side like a flag that somebody starched and ironed if these winds keep picking up today. So that's what we're watching for. After we see tank farm activity, we would expect to see some propellant loading when we start to see venting happening from the vehicle itself. So actually little puffs of smoke, little puffs of vapor, some condensation rolling down the sides. That's when we know that they are starting to actually pump those cryogenic liquids into the vehicle. After that, that'll take a little bit of time. We'll then expect to hear the siren, and that is the sheriff notifying the residents of Boca Chica Village, basically giving Mary a personalized notification that they are about 10 minutes away from, let's call it significant spaceflight activity. What they do is when they're actually going to do this hop, there's the potential for what SpaceX like to refer to as an overpressure event. Something may go wrong. It may pop. It may explode. There may be a big fireball. In that case, there may be a shock wave or a pressure wave that comes from the launch site and impacts structures at Boca Chica. So they warn the residents between these hours or 10 minutes after we do this siren, we may be doing this event where there may be, honestly, it could be an explosion, right? So they tell the residents, for your safety, you might want to get out of your house. If you're in the house, your house gets hit by the shockwave. You may have glass flying inside. You may be injured by flying glass because of this shockwave hitting your house, specifically hitting your windows. And so they give this siren saying, hey, residents, we don't expect you to be outside all day long, but we highly recommend you get outside 10 minutes prior to this event, just in case something happens, a shockwave hits the house. We don't want you to have flying glass coming at your face unexpectedly. So that is that 10-minute siren there. After that, we start to count it down, and hopefully we see a hop or a launch. Of course, I don't need to explain what that is. That would be the SN6 structure over there, about 30 meters tall, hopping off of that launch stand. The girder structure down at the bottom is actually the launch stand. That'll stay on the ground. Well, it's supposed to stay on the ground. And SN6, the stainless steel shiny part, will go up in the air, 150 meters, and then come down and land on a landing pad just a little bit away. So was that a pretty good rundown of what we're expecting here?
Yeah, I think that was pretty solid.
All right.
And John Hall actually had a question along the lines of what you're talking about with the closures. John was wondering, what Air/Space Force wing manages the range for Boca Chica? So Boca Chica is actually a private test facility that SpaceX operates. They are not, it's up to SpaceX basically to manage their own range, but they do work work closely with the Coast Guard to help make sure the area is clear. We've seen a Coast Guard plane flying around during testing operations before. So they do work with the government to some extent to make sure everything's safe. And obviously the local police are helping maintain the road closures and whatnot. But for the most part, it is up to SpaceX to make sure the range is cleared. You can actually see on top of Starhopper, if you look closely, there's a circular, a rotating, I should say, radar on top of it, and that is scanning for boats to make sure the range is clear. So it is up to SpaceX to manage their own range.
Gotcha. Another couple questions we can sort of speed run really quickly. Again, y'all, one of the reasons we do this live commentary is because we're not just sitting here watching a tank in the middle of nowhere. We try to answer questions so you can understand what the heck's going on. So here is one. Is there any difference between this and the last test? Is it going any higher or further? I know that it's still supposed to be going up to 150 meters. Michael, are there any other differences between this one and the last one we saw hop?
Not that I have heard of. I don't think Elon said anything specific on Twitter. So I mean, I'm sure they've probably made some minor improvements to SN6 versus SN5's build quality. They might have made some, minor changes to the throttle profile or something along those lines to the Raptor engine. But I have not heard any official or seen any official confirmation of any changes between this hop and the last hop.
Gotcha. I'll say one of the cool things about science or engineering is that if you can't repeat it, it's not much good to you. So even if SpaceX does the exact same thing, they need to be able to repeat their accomplishment before. They've already hopped one up to 150 meters when they troubleshoot things, because Elon's goal is to get this thing hopping like crazy, and they definitely need to practice this so that one day we are able to hop starships. Hop starships constantly, repeatedly. Quick, rapid turnaround, I guess is the right way to say that, huh?
Yeah, and I know we have answered this before. I'm going to say it one more time just because our view count keeps going up. We have 11,000 people watching right now, so I'm sure some of you have not heard this spiel yet. We do not know when it's going to hop. It could hop within the next hour. It could hop later today. It could not hop at all. We do not know, but we're just going to hang out, and hopefully it's going to happen today. The wind is the current concern, but they are going to hopefully try to find a time when they can hop. So we're just going to have to wait and hang out. And if you have any questions, tag on NASASpaceflight in chat, and we do our best to answer. And the next thing we're looking for, like Doss mentioned, is tank farm activity. So we're just looking at that tank farm and hoping to see condensation here soon. That will be the indication that we're about 50 to 40 minutes away from a hop.
Gotcha. It looks like there might have been some sort of YouTube hiccup there. Not tracking any dropped frames or anything on the server side. We're all nominal there. But if you had some sort of issue or the quality looks weird, try a refresh on your end. Our encoder is 5x5. We are not having any issues with our output to YouTube. And YouTube is telling me that it's an excellent connection on that end. Our relay is saying it's got an excellent connection at full bit rate. Twitch has a full bitrate stream with no problems that I've seen. I'm sure they'll tell me if they did, but if you are having some issues, maybe try to hit a refresh on the page there. So, yeah, refresh worked. All right, refresh, y'all. Refresh. There you go. A couple other super chats. Yeah, I was going to keep up with the super chat so we don't get too far behind. Gannicus, thank you for the super chat there, asking what's the weather looking like for today. I think our biggest issue that we're tracking with weather is high winds. The winds are expected to get worse and worse in the evening. Of course, that can have an impact on the vehicle, which is hopping. So wind is our big concern. We've seen a couple of scattered showers coming through the area. With our situation, if we get a scattered shower or a thunderstorm coming through, we will probably pull it. We'll pull this camera off the roof because this is an exposed camera up in a location, and it's not like a weatherproof enclosure or anything. So number one, we would not want the camera operator, Mary, to be up there on the roof if it's lightning or if there's thunder or something like that. Even if it's raining, I don't really want her up there. So from a camera perspective, we're watching the rain, but the big thing is the actual winds that we're looking for. Let's see here. Nico Schmitz, thanks for the amazing work you guys do down there. Greetings from Germany. Nico, thank you so much for the super chat. We've got CA&P Railroad as well. I know I'm late, but what I missed, did the tank try to run away again? Nope, the tank is still sitting there holding down that launch mount. That launch mount's not going anywhere with that tank sitting on top of it. Not seeing any tank farm activity, though, so we're standing by, hoping that tank farm activity picks up. They progress towards this hop. And then last but not least, Daniel, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate the support. Over on my side, let's see what we got. Hey, Hydra, thank you so much for the 56 months. Been a member of my community over on Twitch for 56 months. We appreciate the support there as well. Brava Alpha Echo, thank you as well for the resub. And I think I got Dangerous Safety, Duna Direct. I think I got y'all. Hopefully I did. Hopefully I didn't miss y'all. But anyways, across the board, folks, whether you're on Twitch or whether you're watching here on YouTube, we are able to do these things because of your support. So y'all keep showing up. The super chats, watching ads, watching the daily videos, retweeting things. I don't know, clicking the little thumbs up button, the like button. When y'all click that like button, that also kicks us up a notch. I guess I could say it that way, right? Anyways.
Why not?
Yeah, why not? So everybody, however you support the stream, it's your doing. It's your support that allows us to keep on doing these live streams. So thank you so much, however you're able to support. Whew.
Yeah, the really amazing thing about this is that if SN6 hops today, Mary was just reporting that there's some stacking going on with SN7.1, which is the next test article. It's not a vehicle that's going to fly. It's a test article that they're going to prove test to failure. So they're basically testing on what the current capabilities are of their construction methods and what the load limits are. So lots of activity coming, and if it's SN6 hops today, SN7.1 could be going to the pad for testing in the very near future. There's a secondary pad just to the right of our camera that you can't see right now. It's called Pad B, and they already have a launch stand set up there with the thrust simulator, which basically simulates the thrust of a Raptor engine. They already have that all installed and ready to go. So with Mary reporting that there was another SN7.1 stacking operation today, we could definitely see the next prototype heading to. Sorry, we can definitely see the next prototype heading to the pad in the next couple of days or so. And I mean, then the question is SN5 going to head back to the pad? Because that vehicle already hopped. Elon said it was unclear if it was going to hop again after it did its first flight, but it's very possible that that could be the next Starship to actually fly after this.
Gotcha. Let's see here. I'm trying to scroll through and see if I can put some questions in the queue.
What are the odds it's going to fly the first time? I'll go 60%. What do you think, Das?
Was it going to go the first time? Look, I don't know. I do not have enough data to make a guess as to whether or not it'll go. That would encroach on gambling for me because I don't have any information on this. So, I mean, I want to be optimistic. I just want it to go. I want it to have 100% chance, but I'm not in charge of whether or not it hops. What do you think, Michael?
I think 60% probably sounds about right. We did see that SN5 took a couple of tries. Presumably they got those kinks out of the system, so potentially a slightly higher percentage of this working on the first time compared to SN5.
60% of the time it hops every time? How's that sound? Let's see here. Another one in
Any
there.
update on Starlink and Salcom? Starlink has scrubbed. Salcom is still on for tonight.
What time is Salcom scheduled for?
7:19 Eastern, which is 23:19 UTC.
And Salcom's that dogleg going out of the Cape, right? That's launching from Cape Canaveral, and it's a polar orbit.
Super exciting.
Yeah.
It's going to basically fly down the coast of Florida. So anyone from central Florida down to southern Florida probably has a chance to see it if they live somewhere along the east coast of Florida.
That'd be cool to see that thing going wide. What time is sundown today at the Cape?
I think it's like 20 or 30 minutes after. Let me look it up.
Ah, shucks.
Yeah, if it was a night launch, it's 7:42, so it's about 23 minutes after. If sunset had been just before, that would be insane for the lighting.
Oh, people would have lost their minds all down the coast of Florida. If you were on the east coast of Florida, you would have seen the big jellyfish, the SpaceX nebula, the Falcon Nebula that occurs when it's dark on the ground because the sun has set, but the sun is still illuminating the exhaust plume of the rocket that's going by. That would be a crazy show. All the way back, what was that, in LA that one time where it did the flight and they had that big jellyfish formation that people saw in the sky next to LA.
Yeah. I think actually there's a video on YouTube of people, of a couple of cars rear-ending each other because they were focusing on the rocket, not driving. So,
you know what's interesting? Albuquerque, New Mexico has that same issue. So they have the balloon fiesta where they have just hundreds of hot air balloons. Whoa, that'll recover. They have hundreds of hot air balloons that all sort of launch over a couple-day festival in Albuquerque. And the incidence of traffic accidents increases whenever those the hot air balloons are in the air. People just seem to stare at the spectacle in the sky instead of watching where they're driving. So be safe out there, y'all. couple more super chats coming in. Frank Sylvie, thank you so much for the new membership. Appreciate you. Brett Cato, thanks for the coverage. Here's to hoping for a good launch. I agree. You almost caught me up there, Brett. I almost said here's to hoping for a good hop, or here's to hopping for a good hope, or here's to launching for a good hop. One way or the other, we appreciate the support there. Invisible, I'm just going to go with Invisible on this one. Those two prototypes are look-alike. It's R2-D2 and C-3PO. You can see the old Hopper, the silver stainless steel tank that's sort of middle of the screen with the shiny dome on top. That one does sort of look like R2-D2, especially at night when the lights come on. You can see R2-D2 sort of have a little bit of inspiration there. And the other one, it needs to be gold if it's C-3PO. It's sort of a tall silver tank. It looks to me, you know what it looks to me more like? The Bounty Hunter. What was the Bounty Hunter? Something 88, IT-88 or something? What was that Bounty Hunter's name? Chat, help me out. Star Wars 88. Michael, do you know? I don't know.
No, I'm not a Star Wars person.
IG-88. IG-88. Yeah, the IG-88 assassin drone. That's what it is. IG-88 assassin droid. SN6 looks a little bit more like IG-88 from he was hunting Han Solo, wasn't he? He was one of the ones that was at Cloud City, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways. Hey, there was another one that came through. James Alkins came through as well. Should start a pool to go towards a climate-controlled trailer for broadcasting equipment with a retractable tower for cameras and antennas. How will Starship deploy payloads and still keep the nose cone? I don't know that we're quite to the level of an entire broadcast trailer. That gets into the tens of thousands of dollars. We could probably use some more broadcast gear so we could get some more cameras live at the same time, have some more camera angles maybe. But broadcast trailers, I'm not quite sure we're there yet. In terms of how will Starship deploy payloads, it's sort of like a Pac-Man thing. They have this whale snout where the front nose cone would actually open up, and the payload would sort of come up out of the payload area at an angle for cargo starships. I mean, you get into all sorts of different designs that are required if you've got a starship that's landing on the moon and you want to put something down on the surface. Are you deploying 400 Starlink satellites? How do you get those out if you're in low Earth orbit? If you're going all the way to Mars, it might be even different. So a couple different designs that they have to have. They're either even planning on having tanker starships, right? So a tanker starship, which literally just carries extra fuel to refuel other starships. So I think they're going to have all sorts of different designs. And that's honestly why this right here is a Starship prototype, even though it doesn't have the cargo thing. SpaceX has designed the Starship to have, I'd almost call it a modular payload area where you can have a couple different designs, maybe one that has crew or human beings in it, one that's bulk cargo, one that's surface cargo that's supposed to end up on the moon, one that's a tanker. So you can sort of switch out the top of this thing based on the mission of the Starship. So I think that's a great question, but a couple different ways that they'll be able to deploy those payloads, all the way up from, there's nothing saying that SpaceX couldn't actually make a fairing on top of this thing that splits in half, and then it just stays up there flying around the moon, because you don't need the front nose cone if you're landing on the moon and you're just sort of doing surface to or orbit to ground operations in the moon and you're never coming back home. One of the things we do in Kerbal all the time, why would you put aero surfaces, why would you put heat shields and stuff like that on something that's just going to operate in orbit? I know Elon wants these things to go from the surface of the moon back down to the planet and back up to the moon. I bet you we see starships that just stay in orbit and keep operating in orbit. I think that I would predict a time where that is something that we will see. There's no reason. There's sort of like orbit optimized starships where they go up and they don't need the aero surfaces because they don't need to come back down again. It's like deploying a bus, and once the bus is there, why would you take it back to Albuquerque? Just leave it in New York or whatever. Sort of a reach on that analogy. Let me see here. Hey, Krylani, 68 months. Thank you so much for the support over on my side. Appreciate you. One of my longtime mods, 68 months of moderating over on my Twitch channel. And then Tactful Zebra. Thank you for the sub. Josh DeGroot, been putting up with my annoying voice and rapid rate of speaking for 62 months as well, Josh. Thank you so much. Negative Rush, Tier 2 and 59 months. Malacca Lips over there, 22 months. Everybody over on the Twitch side, thank you all so much for supporting my live streams. I like to say that y'all sort of put me through live stream or college so that I could learn to do all this. 6 years ago, I had no clue how to do any of this. And here we are running multiple remote feeds for, I don't even know how many people are watching right now. Oh, 13,000. No big deal. It's all good. Let's go ahead, Michael.
I was gonna say Clinton had a question about the Salcom launch. They thought it was postponed due to NROL scrub. Yes, so Salcom is surprisingly still on. We thought it was going to be delayed due to the NROL 44 mission on the Delta IV Heavy being a potential conflict, but somehow, we don't know exactly why, they came to a resolution where Salcom has been given permission to potentially launch tonight. So, Salcom launch is on.
That's just after 7 p.m. Eastern time this evening. And
Yep.
we do have a team down at the Cape as well. Chris Gebhardt and Thomas Burkhardt are down there at the Cape, and I believe that if everything continues to march forward for Salcom, we may have that as well.
Then how long do the road closures last? They last until 8 p.m. local time.
I'm doing some back channel stuff right now.
Again, if you have questions, tag us in chat at NASASpaceflight. I am looking through the list of questions right now.
Yeah, gotcha. Hey, Square in the Air, thank you so much for the super chat. On holiday in Spain, thanks guys and gals, watching while sitting by the pool. Nice, Square in the Air. What isn't technology grand? You can be in Spain across the Atlantic Ocean sitting next to a pool and you can see a live feed from Boca Chica, Texas. You're probably looking at about 5 seconds of latency on this feed right now. So just truly we live in a wondrous time. Jeff Wildermuth, thank you for the super chat as well. Appreciate you. We've got Sandy AP. This one says, who's in charge of security at Boca Chica? Is it SpaceX or the county? And do they need to pay the county to enforce the closure, or is it covered by the state? Michael, can you take that one?
Yeah, so SpaceX, like I was talking about earlier, is in charge of managing the range. They're in charge of making sure everyone is clear. They do have the Coast Guard and like the local sheriff department help with actually like setting up the closures and monitoring that. The sheriff, when the beach is open, right now the beach is closed due to COVID, but when the beach is open, the sheriff will drive up and down the beach, making sure that everybody's clear and whatnot. So the SpaceX is in charge, but they definitely have assistance from the government. And I'm not sure what the relationship is in terms of like who gets paid what to do what. But they definitely, SpaceX does get assistance from the local county and the Coast Guard.
Gotcha. Let's see here. There was another one from Invisible again. What about the huge cloud of dust or whatever it is when SN lands? Is it ground dirt or the exhaust itself? Invisible, when you see it take off and when you see it land, that is mostly dust and I'd say some sand as well, getting kicked up by the force of the Raptor engine hitting the ground, basically. Even though the landing area is concrete, you get blowing wind, you get dust, you get that sort of stuff that sort of settles on the pad. And the Raptor engine, I guess is the right way to say it. The Raptor engine makes one heck of a leaf blower whenever it comes to land on that pad. Any sort of loose objects, it will, dirt, sand, whatever, it'll blow right off that pad. And that's that big brown sort of tan cloud you see.
Yeah.
And then go ahead, Michael.
Quickly, I just wanted to say this wind might actually help us with the dust today, assuming it hops.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it might get blown away a lot quicker than usual. We've seen on Star Hoppers 150-meter hop, and SN6 is 150-meter hop. You couldn't really see it land because there was so much dust, and obviously the Raptor kicks up dust as a landing. But usually like, the final third of the flight is just covered in dust, so maybe that will be slightly better today. We'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And again, we're working on trying to see if we can bring some different angles for future live streams. We just need some more gear to make that happen. So we will see how the wind affects our ability to see the launch and the landing. There was another one, Commander Ross, BSG 37. How long after Starship is operational will we need to wait for Battlestars and Vipers to become a possibility, or even Expanse vessels? I mean, I think we're a pretty good way from a Battlestar or a Viper. Of course, a Viper is a very small fighter class SSTO, and we don't have any sort of SSTO right now, much less one that carries a single person and a payload of of ammunition in a single stage. We're nowhere near that. And then the battle stars. I mean, some of the stuff on the battle stars we have, FTL capability, not anything that we're anywhere near to my knowledge. Is it any more realistic in the Expanse? What were they using for propulsion in the Expanse, Michael? Do you know?
I have not watched The Expanse.
I seem to recall that they did this sort of thing where they would burn halfway, then they'd hop around, or they'd flip around and they'd slow down for the second half of it, but I'm not sure. It was like ion propulsion or some sort of fusion propulsion. I don't remember that one.
Probably, yeah. That makes sense.
One of those two. The Rocinante has a dry thrust to weight ratio of 2.6. It's a fusion type. DHE312. Okay, so there's a bunch of... It's the Epstein drive. All right, I'm reading about the Epstein drive now. Anyways, you see the base technology. I'm almost positive it was some sort of fusion drive, if I'm not mistaken, though. Chat corrected me out. It's the Epstein fusion drive, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah. Thanks, y'all. All right. So I don't think we're near either one of those technologies yet. So we still have a ways to go before we have Battlestars, Vipers, or the Expanse. And then Astria, another super jet. Hey, great work you guys are doing down there, getting us coverage. Do you ever get tours of the facility? So we get roadside tours of the facility. It's not specifically SpaceX letting us on the other side of the fence, but we do have some tours of what we can see from the road. Mary does a fantastic job of these daily videos where she goes to different spots. In some cases, she has the camera mounted on the side of the car while she drives by. So if you haven't seen some of our tours, Boca Chica tours, we have some fantastic videos on the YouTube channel that you can check out. But in terms of inside the fence, inside the gate, that is not something that's been done yet. And that gets us all caught up on the super chats. See if I caught anything over here. Squish Chin asking about the SN5 to SN6 changes. We're not aware of any visible or physical changes between SN5 and SN6. I'm not even sure that it got the larger landing legs. Did it? Elon had said something on Twitter about some larger landing legs, but I don't think that they've done that on this variant, have they?
And I don't think we did see a pair of what we think are version 1.1 legs, just slightly longer, at near the landing pad, but I'm not sure if we've actually seen a picture of the landing legs that are installed on SN6. The version 1 and version 1.1 legs are fairly similar. I think Elon tweeted that the version 1.1 legs are just slightly longer, but it's based on what we've seen so far. There's no clear evidence of which type they are. They're definitely not the version 2 legs, so those are going to be much bigger according to Elon. So either version 1 or version 1.1. So, Starship SN5 used version 1, but like I said, it could be either one or Starship SN6.
And we've made the comment earlier about the importance of repetition in science and engineering. If you're able to do something once, that's great. What you really need to be able to do is repeat it over and over and over again. So even if SpaceX goes through and does a 150-meter hop, puts the biscuit in the basket and lands it right on the launch pad today, that is still good, because in the end, they want to fly lots of Starships, and they're going to need to be able to repeat that easily and repeat it repeatedly. Whatever. I say a lot of words. Sometimes they don't make sense, but they need to be able to repeat that achievement. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I see Chad talking about it. We did just see a brief, it looks like a snort from one of the vents, but when we maintain farm activity, there will be a lot of activity, not just a couple vents every every now and then. So we will progress the timeline on the far left once there's venting coming from all over the place. It'll be really obvious when they're spooling up for a hop.
Yep. That's why we have listed a tank farm activity instead of just saying that it's venting. We want some real tank farm activity because you could tell between, well, I don't know, I just needed to maintain the pressure and it's go time. You'll know the difference once you watch enough tanks down in Texas.
Yeah, we used to go venting. People would be like, "Well, it just vented," but that's not an occasional vent. Is not the sign that they are preparing to hop. All the tank farm, they'll be venting all over the tank farm at once when it's about time to hop.
Yeah. And hey, I'll grab this question really quickly from Astria. Do you think I have 15 or 20 minutes to take a shower? Or is it going to happen soonish? Since we are not seeing any tank farm activity right now, usually it is more than 20 or 30 minutes from the time that we see the first tank farm activity to the time we get a siren. So go get cleaned up. I figured I'd just toss that out there.
Then we had a question from Daniel. Does Starship have a flight termination system? Yes. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but they do have a way to terminate the flight for safety reasons. That is required by the FAA.
We were talking about that yesterday, where if I had to design a flight termination system for this thing, I would probably just knock out the Raptor. Because the mass of this thing, we know the mass simulator up on the top alone is more than 20 tons. And if you take the Raptor away, this thing's just going to drop straight out of the sky. So given that we're not going for a lot of lateral velocity right now, horizontal velocity, it's not going across the ground very quickly. It's really just going up and down. If you just took the Raptor out from under it, like some sort of charge on the side of the Raptor, that thing would drop straight down. I don't know that you'd be able to destroy the entire vehicle while it's in flight, especially at these lower altitudes. Even if you try to do something like some sort of charges up the side of it that tried to blow all the tanks and unzip them so it comes apart while it's still at 150 meters, I still think you're going to get a big old mass of debris concentrated in one impact zone below it. So honestly, I'd blow the Raptor. I'd put some explosives on the side of the Raptor and just let that thing fall straight down, you know? That's just me. Not official.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Rampant speculation by DOS.
I mean, obviously, one way you can terminate a flight or rocket is just to put an explosive charge on it and blow it up. But you get a large debris field when you do that, so it also has its own problems. So just stopping the thrust is definitely a nicer way because it limits the explosion to wherever the rocket lands, as opposed to having it explode higher up in the air, giving the debris more room to travel.
Yep. It'd be sort of like a rifle, shooting at something with a rifle instead of shooting at something with a shotgun. The shotgun has like a wide area where it affects a lot of stuff. If you blew it up while it was at altitude, you'd have lots of pieces go in lots of places in a wide sort of ground footprint. But if you keep it intact and you just let it drop, I mean, it'd probably end up below sea level, that's for sure. It would auger in and they'd have to dig it out of there with, I don't even know, they'd have to dig it out of there with a crane. But I think you could just drop it on the ground to minimize the ground impact. Footprint. Minimize the footprint of the ground impact. Anyways. Again, y'all, we are just hanging out. You can see in the upper left-hand corner, it is currently 11:22 a.m. Central Daylight Time. SpaceX has issued a notice to residents that the test may happen sometimes between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. So we have a long way to go before we're out of window. If you're just joining us, what we are concerned about here today are the winds. The winds are supposed to deteriorate. They may get higher and higher over the course of the day. And if the winds get too high, we don't have an official statement from SpaceX on what their wind constraints are. Like if it's a NASA launch or something like that, usually NASA will publish, here are the wind constraints for this launch, the upper level winds, et cetera, et cetera. If the wind is too high, only SpaceX knows what is too much wind for this test. And honestly, I'd say maybe SpaceX doesn't even know. They probably have some number that they've come up with some amount of caution, some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Some leeway, I guess you could say, to fly the thing, but they might not even know exactly what the vehicle do from a wind perspective. But their goal today is not to push the limits with wind. Their goal today is to hop this thing and put it on the ground safely. So I imagine that they're not going to try and ship it anyways if those winds are borderline.
Yeah. And again, if you have questions, keep tagging us in chat.
Yeah.
Harry's asking, where will all the COPV tanks and external plumbing be relocated in orbital Starship? That's a really good question. I don't know the exact answer to it, but I guess there could be some space between the fins. We did see on Starship Mark 1, which was the only Starship to get fins so far. They kind of had some covers. There's a gap between the fins and the Starship, and then they put some covers on each side. So maybe in there, that's just me speculating. But they do have, as you can see, the COPVs are the black tanks, the small black tanks on the left and right-hand sides of SN5. And also you can see a couple more in the top center, but maybe they'll hide it between the fins. I don't know exactly where. They could also reduce the number as they head to autogenous. I can never say that right. Pressurization. We're going to use Raptor's gas to repressurize the tanks, which will require less COPVs. But we'll have to wait and see on that, I think.
Gotcha. And I've got to do some administrative stuff here for a second, Michael, if you could run with it.
Why were the tanks changed from white to black a while ago? I think you're talking about the tank farm. We've seen a lot of them painted black. I'm not sure the reason. I'm sure there's a reason, but I don't know the exact reason that they did that. That's a good question, though. Jack asking, are there weather balloons at Boca Chica? I think the answer is yes. Mary, you can tell me if you've ever, in our back channel, if you've ever seen one. I can't imagine. I mean, I guess for when they do higher altitude hops, they will definitely have to use weather balloons. That's basically a requirement to measure the upper level winds. But I'm not sure if Mary's ever seen one you've released for these smaller hops, because the wind speeds for that can be measured by just the ground equipment. You can actually see on the tallest tank in the tank farm, there's a tower on top of that. And the very top of the tower has 3 wind sensors. They're measuring the wind out there in real time. So they are measuring with those sensors to the ground winds, but I do believe they also use weather balloons. If they don't use weather balloons yet, they will definitely use them for the higher altitude hops.
Gotcha.
Commander's asking, Starship automatically adjusts to wind, right? I imagine yes. Most rockets, or pretty much all rockets, will throttle, or not throttle, but they'll gimbal their engines to combat the wind forces, and I'm sure that Starship will do the exact same thing. And I think they can like when a Falcon 9 lands, for example, they actually tell it what types of winds to expect in advance. That was the cause of one of the recent Falcon 9 landing failures, is that the rocket was told the incorrect wind data, so they can actually tell the rocket what to expect ahead of time, so we can adjust the flight profile accordingly to combat the wind.
Gotcha. Yeah, Michael, I'm working on a graphics thing here real quick to help answer some questions.
Cool. Yeah, somebody in chat saying they have seen wind or weather balloons being deployed, so that answers that. And also a quick weather update. Speaking of the wind, Jack and Mary. Jack's at a different location, so we got 2 different data points on the wind right now from 2 different people. And Jack and Mary are both reporting that the wind is only getting worse right now, so that is not a good sign. But you never know. The wind could calm down in the next couple of hours. It's still a very long window, so we're just going to hang out and wait and see if we see any activity starting. Federico's asking, what's the progress of Raptor vacuum? So they did some testing at McGregor by bolting a nozzle extension onto a normal Raptor engine. And now, according to Elon on Twitter, they are soon going to be testing with the full-on extended Raptor nozzle meant for the vacuum. So not a sort of temporary, intermittent prototype. They will be going to the full-on Raptor vacuum nozzle shortly for testing. So that's going to be exciting to see. And the final Starship prototypes are expected to have, as of the latest information, 3 Raptors optimized for sea level in the center, surrounded by 3 Raptors optimized for vacuum. So we're gonna have to wait and see. There was some speculation, or I think Wynn Shotwell said in an interview with Aviation Week that they were kind of flipping back and forth between 7 and 6 engines. There could be some slight changes in the configuration, but it's approximately going to be 50% sea level Raptors and 50% vacuum Raptors on the final orbital Starship prototypes, or not prototypes, but the operational Starship vehicles.
All right, so I got a new thing to try here really quickly, Michael. You mind if I telestrate some?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, who here knows Neopork, right? Has anybody heard the name Neopork? If you've seen some crazy, fantastic Starship renders, some of those renders come from Neopork. And I actually spoke with Neopork and asked if we would be allowed to show some of the renders on the live stream. So what I've got here in the picture-in-picture is one of those renders. I know I've got it super small there in the picture-in-picture, but what I wanted to point out is the internal workings of Starship. So you can sort of see the cutaway right there, right? And I should be able to draw on this. What we're looking at here, right? What we're looking at on the tank is only this part right here. That's all that is out there on the test stand. So what's missing is this big part in the front. You've got the fins missing, the forward fins, you've got the rear fins missing, you've got the nose cone missing. All they have are the methane tank, the LOX tank in the back, and then one Raptor engine underneath here, right? There's also the landing legs on the very bottom of the skirt. And that's all that you're seeing are those things that I've outlined in red right there. And somebody asked a question. The reason I brought this up is because somebody asked, where are the COPVs? On the live video, you see the black tanks that are sort of going down the side. Where are those going to end up? And you can really guess where they're going to end up in this. Those black tanks tuck right into here. There's a little bit of a bulge on the side where it goes out to those fins. And if you look at SN6, you can see that those black tanks are sort of 180 degrees on both sides symmetrically of the rocket. And those things, if they stay in that position, it looks like they're going to fit right into this area all the way down the back of the skirt. So that's why I brought this up. I think that those black COPVs, the tanks that are going down the side, you can really see the ones on the right side there. I have a feeling that those are going to fit into sort of this bulkhead area between the skirt and the LOX tank and the rear fins there. If I had to guess, Michael, do you think that makes sense?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. I just didn't have an illustration tool, but that is exactly where I would guess.
Yep, absolutely. And then the other thing you can see on the screen right now, the mass simulator, the big block on top of the live video, that mass simulator sits right here, like that on this. And we'd rotate it 90 degrees. I didn't rotate the picture 90 degrees before I brought this up, but that's where the mass simulator is. And what's happening is that mass simulator is simulating all the mass of the nose cone. That thing weighs 22 tons right there, and that is why they have that literally just a block of steel up on the top, because it's pretending that it's the nose cone and the forward header tanks and whatever structure there is and the forward fins and some amount of cargo, etc., etc. That's what they're simulating with that mass simulator. But y'all, this render came from Neopork. I'm going to link you to his Twitter really quickly. You need to make sure you toss him a follow on Twitter so that you can keep up with all of these fantastic renders that he does. Let me get a link to that in chat real quick. It's Neopork85.
Yeah, I just put his information on screen.
Oh, thank you. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Michael. There's the clickable link in chat as well. Don't miss that. That is a follow that you don't want to miss. If you're on Twitter and you follow Neopork, you will get these renders as they are released. They really are fantastic. So thank you so much to Neopork for giving us permission to show that as part of our live stream. I do have some other illustrations and stuff like that as well. As they're relevant, I can bring them up and talk about them. So that's just fantastic. Whew. Are we getting behind on Super Chats again?
Of course we are. Why would we not be?
A little bit. Lorenzo, thank you so much for the support. Says, hello from Italy. When do you expect Star Booster production? If you're talking about the super heavy booster, the bottom part of this, I'm not going to tell you they're not already doing that. I'm not going to tell you that there is not a ring of stainless steel that's going to end up as part of a super heavy booster sitting in some sort of building over there at the production site. When are they going to roll the first one out? I don't think we're going to see a super heavy booster until the high bay is completed. And the high bay gets more and more work done on it every day. I think it's reached the max height now, and they just need to finish up putting the walls, the panels, and the top on it. I imagine they'll also install a crane in it, which would be important before they actually start stacking a super heavy booster. But I think your big indication on when a super heavy booster is going to appear is the progress on that high bay, because I don't think Elon's going to spend any time messing around once the high bay is ready to host a super heavy. You agree, Michael? That sound good?
Yeah, and Elon even tweeted that they could attempt a super heavy booster hop with 2 Raptor engines as early as October. That's an Elon timeline, so you know it might slip a bit, but
it's EST. That's Elon Standard Time. So it may happen in October. It may happen in 2024. Like, we'll see. Also, Revo says buy some beers because it seems kind of hot in there. Well, air conditioned here in the studio. Back at NSF Mission Control, I know it's hot out there on the roof, but you know, we appreciate the support, Revo. We've also got Dinah Duckworth. Thank you so much for the super chat, Dinah. And then Invisible again. Does SpaceX have planned to test hovering mode? It should be a good stress test for Raptor endurance. Michael, have you ever heard anything about a hover test? I mean, hover tests are sort of Blue Origin's thing.
yeah, I don't think so. Maybe they will. I mean, you can test stuff like that to some degree on the test stand. Obviously, you don't have to throttle kind of quite as much, but I don't know if there would be I don't know if there'd be a reason to do that, because you're never gonna have to. I don't think that we're ever gonna see them hover a Starship for an actual practical reason. Usually, when they're landing, they are basically hover slamming, so they are trying to reach 0 velocity right when they impact the ground, not try to hover just above the ground. But maybe there's a reason to test that. I don't know, but
I don't know. I mean, Starship shouldn't really have an operational mode where it needs to hover.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're hovering, you're wasting fuel and you're making the vehicle very, very inefficient. It may be cool that it can hover, but I don't ever see any situation where Starship would intentionally need to hover. You want it to be either on the ground or you want it to be accelerating towards space. You don't want it to be hanging around. I tell Kerbal people when I do Kerbal streams, you could spend an infinite amount of fuel. You could spend an infinite amount of Delta V hovering forever, but you'd never end up in space. You'd never end up in orbit. What's the point, right? So unless there's some sort of system to test, or he wants to try and catch up with Jeff Bezos, I'm going to roll that grenade into chat. I don't see Starship having any need to hover.
Yeah, it should be a good stress test for Raptor endurance part. Like I said, that could be done on a test stand just by firing it for several minutes and seeing how long it lasts.
Right. And of course, the joke there, y'all, the Jeff Bezos comment is New Shepard, the suborbital teeny tiny tourist rocket that flies out in West Texas. When that thing comes down, a lot of times it'll hover. And right before it lands, it'll come, and it sort of shows off. It's like, oh, landing? No, look at me. I'm just going to hover here for a while. What's the big deal? Look at how in control I am. So I joke that's Jeff Bezos sort of showing off that he can hover New Shepard. I know that y'all can argue every which way, but it is quite difficult to make that vehicle stay in control while it's hovering right before landing like that. So anyways, that's the joke. That's the joke.
I'll do a trivia question for the chat. Which SpaceX vehicle has hovered on a test stand or test flight? Let's see who gets it first.
You win 0 internet points.
There we go. Kyle Denny says Dragonfly. That's what I was referring to. They did do a hovering test. It was basically suspended by a
like a tether?
Cable, not a cable. What's the word I'm looking for?
Tether.
Yeah, it was suspended by it was hanging from a rope basically, and they did hover a Crew Dragon prototype, because they were originally attempting to, or hoping to be able to propulsively land the Crew Dragons, and they did a hover test of that, but unfortunately, the propulsive landings for Crew Dragon have been scrapped, although that would have been amazing to see. And some people are also saying Grasshopper. I guess Grasshopper did kind of hover as it reached apogee of its flight, but Dragonfly was what I was looking for. That was a specific hover test.
It's almost like defining the hover test not as reaching your apogee and then starting to come back down again, but almost like going up to something and intentionally stopping at an altitude and staying there for some amount of time.
Yeah, the Dragonfly test was literally hanging from a cable, and they just hovered it the entire time. So that's what I was looking for.
Mm-hmm. Chat, y'all can't hear me eating chips, can you? I think I have a noise gate on, so you shouldn't be able to hear me eating chips, but,
Are they Pringles?
They are Pringles, actually.
I can just tell by the sound.
Can you hear them?
No, I'm joking.
Okay, good.
You showed them on the camera before we started, so I knew what they were.
I did. The sour cream and onion can chroma keyed out, so... Not sponsored by Pringles. Pringles, if you'd like free advertising, you can contact us. We've got email addresses for sponsors if you'd like to talk to us. Let me get caught up on a couple things over here. Geeson, thank you so much for the 34 months of support over on the Twitch side. Justin is live, a new Twitch Prime sub. Thank you. And Umbroso, 27 months. Thank you, Umbroso. Long-time viewer of the Twitch channel over there. Seeing if I missed anybody else. I'm actually running 3 different live streams right now. Action 09, I feel like I missed you. 68 months, that's the high score. I've had my Twitch partnership for 68 months, and Action 09 has been subbed to my channel over there the entire time. Seeing if I got anybody else. Yeah, I got Cryolani up, so there we go. Just really quickly to tell people, we're running 2 different streams here right now. I'm taking the YouTube stream and I'm also copying it over to my Twitch channel. So when I say, over on the Twitch side, that is my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/DasValdez, where I have been streaming for almost 6 years now, doing a lot of Kerbal stuff. I did some of the original virtual field trips. I think I was one of the first people who took like a PC and a car battery to the side of 401 to do a live stream off a laptop and a camera of a rocket launch. So I've been doing this for a really long time, and that's why I don't want my Twitch stream to think that I have forgotten them with my new friends at NASASpaceflight over here. So Twitch, don't worry, I'm not forgetting about you.
Again, if you have questions, tag us in chat. Here's a good one. Any progress on orbital refuel? I have not seen Elon or SpaceX mention any tests on the ground regarding that, but I'm sure it's something they're developing. I cannot imagine, because that's one of the key components of the Starship system. It has to be able to refuel to get to landing people on the moon or Mars. So that's going to be a critical system, and I cannot imagine that they would not be thinking about that already. But to answer, if you're looking for hardware that we've seen, I don't think we've seen that yet. I'm sure we will soon.
Again, I'll toss in one more time. I know there's 16,000 people watching. There's more than 16,000 people. Yeah, add the 2 streams together. There's more than 16,000 people watching. We do not have an exact time frame. We call this roadside rocket science for a reason. We watch what's going on. We know that SpaceX has declared this test window. We know that SpaceX has told us that 10 minutes prior to the big event, they will sound a police siren. But we do not have an exact time, so all we can do is watch the live feed from Boca Chica here. Mary has this camera in operation. We're seeing the tank farm. We're seeing if it's going to start venting. And once it starts to vent, then we can start to guess about what a time might be. But right now, no tank farm activity. We're just hanging out watching tanks. We appreciate y'all sharing this with us. You do have time to feed your chimpanzee before the hop. Go ahead, Realms. There is no approximate times. Mr. Fallen, I cannot give you an approximate time. Once we start, right now, with no activity, I can't give you any approximate time. I know after we start to see some activity, if everything progressive nominal, it's roughly an hour before the event. But with no tank farm activity, we have no point of reference to tell you, to even guess really, what's going on. Approximate time to date. There you go. Could someone render a Pringles can over SN6 after the hop?
Do you think SN8 will go to 150 meters or will it go higher? Well, according to Elon, it should be going higher. That's the one that's supposed to get a nose cone and aero surfaces. So
Yep.
hopefully if SN6 goes well and potentially another hop of SN5 goes well, they will clear the way for SN8 to go a lot higher. That's going to be super exciting to see happen.
Yep. Hey, here's a good question, Michael. This is from Ricardo. Ricardo asked, how are they moving Super Heavy from the shipyard to the launch pad? It's a super chat too. Horizontal or vertical? I haven't heard anybody say that Starship is ever going to go horizontal on the ground. Have you?
No, and I have never seen a plan for how they're going to get it to the launch pad. That's a question that's come up before, and I really want to know the answer to it. So hopefully maybe Elon or something will reveal that answer at some point. I suppose maybe I don't know, maybe the self-propelled modular transporters that they use currently to transport Starship to the pad could handle a Super Heavy. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. I mean, remember, most of the mass of the rocket is the fuel. So from a mass perspective, I bet you Roll Lift could put together something that could carry the empty tankage. I think the big question is that thing's going to be tall. Like, we think that SN6 is tall, and it's not even a full Starship. Starship is the payload for Super Heavy. So Super Heavy, I'm trying to see if I have a graphic of this. Super Heavy is ridiculously tall compared to Starship that we're looking at here. So could it actually keep the whole thing stable while it drives down the road is the question for me, you know?
Yeah, and another thing is that they're going to need, if they did theoretically roll it out horizontally, they would need a massive crane to be able to lift that thing vertically. So that's another thing to consider.
Yep. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't have a lot of screen real estate for this, but I can try to show you this piece here of the size of Super Heavy at a little bit of an angle. Let's try this. Just 1 second. This up on the screen.
And Mary had a question for you on Discord, Doss, just so you're aware.
It's 2 of 4 right now. Could you type to her while I show this?
Okay, cool.
Yeah, thank you. So y'all, I know this is a little small. Let me make sure it all fits into the frame here. But that's supposed to be the size of the full Starship and Super Heavy stack. Again, this is a render from Neopork. And right here, look. That is the piece that we have. This is Super Heavy, and then that is the nose cone that's missing on the top. What you're seeing on the pad right now, the 30-meter high stack, is only this piece right here. That's 30 meters. And so Super Heavy is ridiculously tall. We've seen, Mary has live streamed this, an SN going down the road at its sort of 30-meter height. I can't imagine seeing a full Super Heavy stack going down the road on a roll lift. I mean, that's like NASA crawler territory. That's ridiculously huge. So we shall see how they resolve it, but that's going to be a sight to see, I guarantee you.
I wonder how the road is also going to be able to handle the weight of all these vehicles constantly going to and from the pad. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
It's just a normal paved road. That NASA crawlerway is a very robust road with a lot of packed, I think they use like river rocks. So it's meant for much larger loads than a normal road.
Right. And I'm typing the back channel there.
Yeah.
I mean, we're good to go right now.
Yeah. Cool. Again, by tank farm activity, we mean a lot of venting. When there's tank farm activity, it will be obvious there's tank farm activity. 1 or 2 vents is not them actually spooling up for a hop, which is what we're hoping to see. that's just them keeping the normal tank farm properly pressurized and whatnot, and probably just letting some boil off. But when the countdown has begun, the tank farm activity will be pretty obvious.
Yep, absolutely.
Somebody's asking what's the white tanks, what is the black tank? So there's 3 vertical black tanks just to the bottom left of SN6. Those are the water tanks. And then the white horizontal tank just to the left of those, I believe, is a CH4 tank. And the second horizontal white tank on the farthest to the left, I believe, is a liquid oxygen tank. As for the other vertical black tanks in the background, I'm not sure which one's which. Presumably some of those are nitrogen, maybe some more liquid oxygen. I'm not sure. I cannot name each one individually and tell you what they're for, but I believe the vertical tank that's on, or the horizontal tank, excuse me, on the far left is for LOX, and the one further to the right is for CH4. Derek says, on the NASA social, it was said that a 7 foot of river rock and crawler was out operating that day. It was pure sand on top layer after it crawled across. Crazy, yeah. So they have a very robust way to get the crawlers transported with that crawler way. And I am kind of wondering if they're going to have to build something like that out here at Boca Chica at some point.
Michael, I was just bringing that up. I'm going to get a map really quickly because the problem is there's a public road that basically goes between. The launch site is on the opposite side of the public road as the production site. So you can't have something that goes over there that doesn't cross the public road in some way is the problem.
Interesting. So it needs like a crossing point or something.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna bring up a Google map real quick. Just stand by and I'll grab it.
How many Starlink satellites will Starship be able to deliver? A lot. I can't give you an exact number because I don't know, but a lot.
A lot. A lot. Yeah, here's this. We'll picture this, y'all. Present. There we go. So this is a map of the area, satellite view of the area. The test facility is all the way over here. So this is what we're looking at right now from a launch stand right there. And the production site is actually way back here. I have that on the screen. Yeah, this is the production site over here. This is a public road. Boca Chica Boulevard, Highway 4 goes out to the beach. That's public. And the production facility is on this side of the road, and the launch facility is on this side of the road. So even if they were able, you can't do anything over here. This is all just water on the far side of the road right there across from Boca Chica. So you're not going to put a crawler way over here in water. I mean, I don't know. It's SpaceX. Maybe Elon Musk would. I'm not sure. Could you have something that crawls up through here, the backside of Boca Chica Village, and then somehow crosses over and goes up this way? Possible, but there's a lot of structures in the backside of Boca Chica Village now. If I'm not mistaken, a lot of construction has been done. I mean, that's the tracking station where the dishes are. So even though it looks like you've got a little bit of room right in here, you couldn't really do a crawler way there. There's structures in the way. What are they going to do? Could they slam it in between the road and the tracking station? Is there enough beach here to do it on the south side of the road of Boca Chica Boulevard? I don't know, but that's the challenge. Even if they want to make some sort of dedicated crawlerway, they are going to have to cross that public road, which is the only access to Boca Chica Beach. There is no other way to get there unless you, well, swim across the ship channel. Don't do that. That's dangerous. Or take a boat and land on the beach. Kayak, whatever. So anyways. Y'all, the picture in picture there, I know that is really small. Are y'all able to see what I'm drawing there? Is the picture in picture okay when I do that, or is that more annoying because it's too small for you to see? Just give me some honest feedback in chat. It's fine. It's clear. It looks fine. Fine on a PC. It's good. Maybe on a phone, it may be kind of small, like a mobile device. Picture in picture, okay. Is it full screen? Picture's helpful. It's good. All right. Okay. Good deal, y'all. I bet you it's like a mobile device versus I have a monitor dedicated to it or something like that. They're going to use a boring tunnel to the pad.
Invisible says for the super chat, well, landing on the moon may require hovering. I think the plan for landing on the moon, though, is to, at least according to the latest stuff that SpaceX has put out, is to actually just like stop the forward momentum a ways above the moon with the Raptors, so that they're not kicking up too much of the moon dust, and then they will use the reaction control thrusters to slow the descent as it falls towards the moon. So they're just gonna like have it gently fall to the moon and use the RCS thrusters to kind of maintain that fall. I don't think we're going to see the Raptor engines used as very close to the lunar surface, because that's going to kick up a lot of dust.
Yeah. There's a bunch of research that supports that, specifically looking back at some of the Apollo landings. Something the size of Starship is not going to do very well using its big, powerful Raptor engines to land on an unprepared surface on the moon. Some of the research actually shows that Starship would probably destroy itself, if not when landing, when trying to take off, because the lunar regolith, the fluid flow dynamics of the lunar regolith, with the Raptor exhaust hitting it with that amount of force, would actually direct it back up into the bottom of the skirt like a shotgun that could destroy parts of the Raptor engines. So when you saw that render by Elon, or not by Elon, the render that Elon put out, that SpaceX put out, that had those landing thrusters up high, that's to mitigate sort of regolith blowback hitting the underside of the rocket, where, of course, you literally have a big cone that funnels all the regolith or shrapnel into the Raptor engines. That's not something you want. So I think that makes a lot of sense, that render we saw with the higher engines sort of doing the final landing. Same thing when it takes off again. If the Raptor engines, if the Starship's sitting on the ground on the moon and it fires up those Raptor engines, if it's an unprepared surface underneath it, so not a mooncrete pad or whatever, it's just raw regolith like Apollo landed on, most of the simulations that I've seen show Starship destroying itself and not successfully making it off the surface of the moon. So I imagine we're going to see some Starships originally land on the moon using those other thrusters, and then once some infrastructure gets into place, I call it mooncrete, right? Using lunar regolith via centering, by heating it up and melting it into a solid landing pad or something along those lines. I imagine we are going to see some prepared landing surfaces on the moon, so that Starship can land in different ways on those prepared surfaces, land and take off on prepared surfaces. But when you're landing on unprepared regolith, the simulations and the math that I've seen show that Starship can't actually do that unless they use those upper thrusters. The lower Raptor engines will most likely destroy the vehicle.
Jay with a super chat question. Can non-vacuum Raptor be used in vacuum or vice versa? If non-vacuum Raptor can run in vacuum, will it need to be used on the way to the moon? That's a good question. So the sea level Raptor engines will have to be able to work at both sea level and in a vacuum, because during the, like just the Falcon 9, for example, the first stage will end up in a vacuum at where it separates the second stage. And that's basically the same for all rockets and Starship too. So the first stage or sea level optimized engines have to be able to work in both at sea level and in a vacuum. But the vacuum optimized engines generally only have to be able to work in a vacuum. However, Elon was mentioning they might test the vacuum nozzle at McGregor, Texas at their test site. So maybe that could work, but I don't think we'll see. Usually you don't see the vacuum optimized engines used in flight when they're not in a vacuum, because you can get some problems with that. They kind of are meant to expand the plume a lot, and without that, at sea level, that causes issues.
Yep. And one of the comments on that, the big difference between a vacuum engine and a sea level engine or atmospheric engine is the nozzle, right? And it's the size of the engine bell, how much you let that exhaust gas expand before you actually let it go out the back of the spacecraft, right? So a sea level engine could operate in vacuum, but it might not be as efficient because the engine bell is not large enough to allow for the proper expansion. Basically, you want an engine bell that's going to give you a lot of force pushing your craft forward when there's no air to help you constrain that exhaust into the little plume, right? So can you use it? Sure. It would just be less efficient if you use an undersized engine bell where there's no atmosphere. Long story short. We got another super chat there from Dutchling. Appreciate the coverage, guys. The Boca Chica community, how many residents' homes are there yet to agree to the terms for relocation? I think it's down to just a couple houses. I don't know the exact number. I'm not sure, but I think it's probably 3 or 4 houses that still have public non-SpaceX employee residents living in them, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know that exact answer, but it's not 10 houses, Dutchling, if I had to guess. Just very few people still sticking in there. Of course, Mary is one of them. The reason we get these views is because Mary is still a full-time resident of Boca Chica Village. That is where she lives. That is her house. So she has not gone anywhere. And that's why we thank her every time that we get these cameras spooled up. Cool Deep Mitra, thank you as well so much for the super chat. Also, Dog Cruz, any bets on FOD or pad explosion? Dog, I know it's like a funny joke. Look at you, you're funny. But we never hope for an explosion. We never hope for things to go flying and create a dangerous situation. We will certainly observe and report what we see. But honestly, what I want to see is a successful hop, this thing going up, coming back down, and safely landing. If there's some bonus footage, like a little, COPV tank that goes flying, or some sort of FOD, like a girder that gets bent over sideways or something, that may be something we observe, but never something that we hope for. That's for sure. Appreciate the support there. Appreciate the super chat. Invisible says all you need is a barge. NASA uses a crawler. SpaceX can use a barge. I don't know. I mean, I don't know how they would even get that aboard a barge. NASA has the crawler, and the crawler actually drives inside of the VAB, the Vehicle Assembly Building at Cape Canaveral. The crawler drives into that building, and they build a rocket on top of it, or they can pick up the rocket inside the building. Michael, that's a great question. Have we seen anything at the base of the high bay that indicates that it may be designed to allow a big roll lift to drive in or something?
They have a really large opening at the base of the high bay, so presumably a large transporter could easily fit into the high bay, and I don't think there's any indication that would say it's for a barge or something, but there is a large space. It's a lot larger than the mid bay, I think. So we'll have to wait and see.
Once they put more of the side panels.
Another big open question for the high bay is how a crane is going to work in there. It's going to be because it doesn't seem like the high bay, at least on the outside, it doesn't really look robust enough to be able to support a large crane kind of built into it. So I don't know if they are planning to have a crane outside, kind of like they use at the mid bay, to reach in there and stack the vehicles.
I don't know. I'd be really surprised if they didn't have a gantry crane installed in the top of the building.
Yeah, I would too. That's what I would expect. It's just interesting that it looks like a really, at least from the outside, it looks like a pretty thin exoskeleton, sort of like the mid-bay, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe it can support it. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of steel involved in that thing, that's for sure, but it's a big, tall structure. Let's see here. Jacob Holman, here's another super chat. When would you call the next big rapid disassembly event? Skydiver SN8? I don't know, Jacob, same thing there. I don't want to call any explosion or any failure. I want everything to succeed. I know that's not realistic, because you will get failures, you will get anomalies that occur, but I mean, I'd love to see SN8 hop up to 20 kilometers, then come right back down again safely. It is definitely a difficult, and I'm going to use the term crazy maneuver. So will they get it right the first time? I don't know. I imagine we will at some point see a Starship doing a belly flop unsuccessfully, and all that implies, but I hope that it's not SN8. I do hope that it's not SN8. Andreas, thank you for the 10 NOK. Appreciate you. Jala J, thank you as well. Here's a third of a coffee. Jala, every little bit helps. It all adds up, so thank you so much for the support there. D2W Studios says, I live in North Alberta and have seen this very large oil sands modules move via truck, 12 meter diameter up to 80 meter in length. It's a logistical nightmare. I would ask, D2W, do they move those vertical? Like, do they stay in a vertical configuration while they move those things, or do they lay them down? Because one of the things that we understand about Starship is that it can't lay horizontally. Super Heavy and Starship, the rings will collapse if you lay them horizontally. And to our understanding, my understanding, I think all the transport and all the motion will have them moving around vertically. So we will see, but I'm curious, do they lay those things down or do they keep them vertical? Sarah Connolly, thank you for the 5 curly L's. We appreciate you. And then Ryan Collier, do you expect the first Super Heavy to be built with SN8 stacked on top for the backdrop of October's Starship presentation? I mean, that would be cool to see, Ryan. We need to see that high bay first. And I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to see that by October or not. I mean, it's already almost September 1st. It's August 30th right now. So we will see on that. But we appreciate the support. And back over on the other side, Skull, thank you for the 53 months. I appreciate the support there. And we got Geeson already, so we're all caught up on that side. Whew.
You know what I can't believe right now?
What can't you believe?
That we have 17.3 thousand people watching tanks sitting in Texas on a hot summer day.
If you add the 2 streams together, the Tank Watchers merch, look at this nerd putting the Tank Watchers merch up on the screen. What a timely plug. NASASpaceflight.com/shop. Michael, I can do you one better. Hang on a second. Check this out.
I'll take that off for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you want a shirt of the Boca Chica skyline with all those tanks that we are watching, NASASpaceflight.com/shop.
It's not just shirts. Let's see if this works. Got my Texas Tank Watcher hoodie on right now. That's I'm sitting here in the studio. Mary probably thinks I'm crazy because I've got a long hoodie on. It's actually nice and warm and soft. But Texas Tank Watchers merch, we'll put the link in chat over there. Hashtag sellout. Whatever, it's a cool design. I like it. Got that 80s retro throwback, like Knight Rider style. So yeah, there's the link to the shop right there. Dougal, you've got a roadside rocket science shirt. It's too hot for that in Texas, I know, right? Wait, y'all want to know the full thing? Hang on. You want to know how dedicated I am to this? And I can actually put this on the screen behind me. Watch. Take the event off. Yeah, we'll leave that up on the screen. You want to know how dedicated I am? Hang on, TOS. I've got the Texas Tank Watchers. And then I've got the roadside rocket science underneath. What? We're a news channel. Thanks for watching. Back to you. I had to make sure I wasn't going to flash everybody there or anything. So I had to separate the 2 shirts.
I can tell you're a professional streamer. You know all the things that could possibly go wrong with every move.
It's not my first rodeo. Yes. Oh, Giacomo, I am inside. I'm actually at my studio in Charlotte, North Carolina right now. So I am not in Boca Chica, Texas. The heat index is not 100 degrees in my studio. I am in an air-conditioned environment with fans and AC and all sorts of stuff going right now. So thank you for your concern. I am not literally cooking myself. Flash your tanks. Ah, yes. Here's another one. Peril asks, any plan to use a tall camera tripod to see over the fences? Peril, I don't know that would be a thing. I mean, if they install the fence and they're trying to get a little bit of privacy out there, I don't know that they would appreciate us trying to drive by with like a tall camera on a pole or anything like that. We are absolutely always respectful of what SpaceX is doing out there. It's very important to Mary, and it's very important to the NASA spaceflight team that we are respectful to what SpaceX is doing, respectful to their operations, and we act as a professional news organization. So are we going to try to drill a hole in the fence and put a camera on it or hide in the bushes or something like that? It's not really how we roll here at NASA Spaceflight. I hope I can speak for the team when I say that, but there will still be views, there will still be things to see, and even if we can't see all the workers on the ground, there will still be lots of content that we'll be able to share, fence or no fence. I guarantee you that. So thank you for asking, but I don't know that we're going to try and defeat their privacy measures. That seems sort of not cool, you know?
Yep.
Here is another one from D2W Studios. The modules are laid down. I couldn't imagine trying to move it vertically. Lots of overhead power lines. Vertical sounds like balancing a pencil. So the big 80-meter tanks that you're talking about up in the oil sands, they horizontify those. They transport them horizontally because it's verticate. That's a real word, verticate. So I guess horizontify can also be a word. So thank you for you didn't have to put an additional super chat there, but I appreciate the support. Michelle Ambrose, thank you for the new membership. Appreciate you. And Matthias Smith, keep up the good work. Hoping for the 20 kilometers hop soon. I agree. That's for sure. Here's Tom Ray saying the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse is 200 feet tall. It's a 5,000-ton brick structure. Was moved intact in 1999 from the beach further inland. Moved super heavy by rail. Like some sort of rail thing would be cool, but where would they install the rails would be my question. That's I didn't know that about the Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. That's really cool. And we've got Walter Van Ward saying, getting back to the transportation question, could you drain a part of the bay and use a suction hopper dredger, create a piece of new land? I don't know what the legalities of that are. Like, would the government, I guess, would the county or would the state park or would the National Wildlife Refuge allow SpaceX to change the bay in such a way that they create a new causeway? It would be a causeway there where you put down you artificially put down, I guess, land to make a causeway. Would they let SpaceX do that? I don't know. I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard any environmental impact reports that would surely be required for an idea like that. So I haven't seen any indication that that would be a realistic idea. I'm sure SpaceX has some sort of plan, and Mary will catch it. Whenever they show somebody what the plan is, you know that Mary will get a video of it, and we'll have it posted up the next day. So,
Yeah. Really quickly, Dawes, Mary needs to do a battery swap with the camera.
all right, excellent. So wait a second. We should probably just hop back over and keep doing more. Oops, that's not correct. Wrong scene. Sorry, we should probably just go back to here really quickly. And she is clear to do the battery swap now. So her camera's clear for the battery swap. And just let me know when the battery swap's done. Again, y'all, I'm John Galloway with NASASpaceflight, sitting here in the studio. Thank y'all so much for joining us. We are standing by for the hop of SN6. I am wearing my headset and my fantastic Texas Tank Watchers merch from the store. You may be getting sick of that so far. I think it's sort of funny. Either way, sounds like we got the video feedback. Let's hop back over to the live video and see if it's ready. That should have been a good swap, I think, right? I think that was the swap. We're confirming that we've got this camera battery swapped out here. That's like NASCAR pit stop mode. I could have swore I heard some impact wrenches going in the background as Mary swapped that battery. I only lost the audio feed. Y'all could have heard the audio feed drop in the background for maybe 8 to 10 seconds if I had to guess. Mary said she's had some practice swapping the batteries. All right. That was
Still waiting for that. Oh, go ahead.
No, somebody said that's a gold medal swap. Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, still waiting for that tank farm to spool up. Again, if you've not seen these tests before, it's usually behind us 3 water tanks, which are black just to the left, bottom left of SN6. So there's 3 vertical water tanks around there. We usually see the first signs of activity from the tank farm. That's the methane recondenser. Ooh, and I'm seeing something right now, just behind them. That was short, so I don't know if that's exactly what we were looking for, but I did just see, I am seeing it now. There's some venting coming from exactly where I just said we should be looking. So
it's the top of the 3 black tanks. The top of the 3 black tanks you can see there.
Stuff is starting to happen.
It's definitely picking up.
That should be the methane recondenser coming online.
Let's see what happens here. That's what we want to start seeing. Look at that. You can see a little bit of venting.
So if you're watching the stream right now, do not go anywhere, because we could be, if this goes based on previous timelines, probably around top of the hour would be when the hop would likely be targeted right now. But this is definitely looks like they have entered the countdown. This is what we expect to see happen. So I will progress the timeline to tank farm activity.
Excellent. That was right on time too. We swapped the battery and then poof. They said, all right, Mary's good. She swapped the battery. You can go ahead and start the tank farm. I'm going to get into telestration mode here too.
Thank you, League, for memberships. Steve, they'll need to get a barge worked out to do water launches as they plan to. Maybe they will use the barge and shoot a pad to prove out those logistics. That's a fair point. Frederick, I hope we can get Elon to shed some light on the logistical issues at the Starship event, like moving super heavy to the launch pad. I certainly agree with that. Psychotic Wolfie, here have part of my paycheck for feeding my obsession. Thank you so much for that, and we enjoy bringing these amazing events to you. They're certainly super exciting to watch. And everything space, 5 pounds. Keep up the great work. Let's hope we see another hop today. And finally, what are the water tanks for? Sound suppression. Good question, Jacob. Yes, they are for sound suppression. The sound waves can be quite damaging, so they pour water onto the bottom of the pad to absorb some of that energy. That is the primary purpose. It also helps, protect the concrete and whatnot from all the Raptor exhaust.
Yeah, checking in on the weather, it looks like we're still pretty clear down there, so not seeing a lot of weather coming into the area. Just scattered showers all over the map. Still a heat index of 100 degrees at Brownville Airport.
Wow.
That's nutty. Down south of the border at Matamoros International, it's 102 heat index. 84% relative humidity. It's like walking through soup. I don't know if anybody's ever been in 100-degree temperatures with 84% relative humidity, but you just want to go back inside and take a shower. It's so terrible. People are like, "Oh, it's so hot outside," and I'm like, I grew up in South Texas. It's not hot here. Wherever you are, maybe Death Valley, whatever, it's not hot. But that relative humidity is just through the roof. It literally makes you feel like you're walking through boiling soup. Wind speeds are still south at 12 miles per hour, 10 knots coming out of Brownsville Airport. So they're sort of holding where they were. Haven't seen an update on those winds, but we'll see. We don't know what the constraints are. We don't know what SpaceX is comfortable with, but we did get some venting start from the farm there. So let's hope that continues to escalate, and we get a vehicle that starts to do some venting itself.
So the next thing we should be seeing is a lot more venting from the rest of the tank farm. That will be as they spool up everything for propellant loading operations. So that's the next thing we're looking for. That will be followed by hopefully some venting from the vehicle. Usually the venting we see from Starship itself is on the bottom left-hand side where the liquid oxygen tank is. That'll be followed by the 10-minute siren to warn the locals that a hop is about to happen, and then hopefully we'll see a hop. So that's kind of the flow of events you normally see. Of course, things could change. They could change the process for this hop, but if it goes like last time, that's what we expect to see. And again, we think probably about the top of the hour is when they are targeting. So about 40 minutes from now, plus or minus a few minutes, because we do not know the exact T0.
Yep. Again, if you're just joining us, a lot more people showing up now that we've got some venting that I'm not going to jinx it, is going to continue. There it is. Good. Whew, that was close. That is Starship SN4. It is a fuel tank and engine prototype. SpaceX is attempting to hop this thing today. What do we mean by hop? We want that thing to take off. We want it to fly up 150 meters in the air, about 5 or 6 times its height, and then land on a concrete landing pad that's just a little bit to the right and behind the camera. When we get closer to the hop, we will back this camera off. We'll take a wider shot, and we will be able to see the actual flight path of the vehicle. This is, of course, way too tight, but it keeps it interesting so we can keep an eye on the tank farm while we're waiting for some more things to happen. We are also... What did I just say SN4? Did I say SN4? Why would I say SN4? I've said SN6 like 1,000 times today. Anyways, it's supposed to be SN6. Thank you, chat. SN6. My apologies for the misspeak there. That is supposed to be SN6 out there. And SpaceX is trying to hop it up to 150 meters. We are going to... Our big thing, the biggest thing that we want to hear is a siren. Because if we hear a siren, that is a T-minus 10-minute indicator that they are going to go for this, right? The siren warns the residents of Boca Chica Village down to less than 10 houses that aren't owned by SpaceX to exit their houses, to get outside where they will be safer from a pressure wave that may throw blowing glass into their house if there's some sort of anomaly. If the vehicle explodes, if there's a massive fire or pressure wave, something like that, SpaceX does warn the residents that there may be flying glass inside their house. Windows may be broken by that pressure wave. So that 10-minute siren is sort of the big thing. Look at the ground going now. There's a lot of venting happening on the ground. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for the catch there, y'all, on SN4 versus SN6. I talk a lot. I've got a very low error rate, I think. That's why I talk so much, so that when I mess up, I'm like, it's like 0.01% of my words are wrong. Thanks for catching me there, though. I appreciate you. So out of curiosity, I just forced a refresh on the Brownsville weather radar. And Brownsville Airport, Cabro, is reporting 20-mile-per-hour winds at south-southeast right now. They've increased to south-southeast 17 knots, 20 miles per hour. The heat index, Michael, the heat index has raised to 107 degrees at Brownsville Airport. That's a lot. Brownsville Airport is about, let me see here. It's about 11.6 nautical miles, 13 nautical miles actually, from Mary's position, from Boca Chica Village. So it's a couple miles away. But if it's got a 107-degree Fahrenheit heat index at Brownsville Airport, I can guarantee you it is probably pretty close to that over at Boca Chica. They've got a little bit of that sea breeze. They're a little bit closer to the water. But that is a ridiculously high heat index. What is that in Celsius? That's 41.6 Celsius, y'all. 41.6. So if you've ever complained about, it's so hot, it's 36 outside, the heat index is 41 degrees Celsius out there right now. And that's why you can see some of that wavering between us and the Starship prototype, SN6. SN4 plus 2. I'll say it that way. It is hot out there.
Yeah. James Hall, welcome to Capcom. Capcom members get access to the NASASpaceflight Discord server, so make sure you connect your Discord account to your YouTube account in your Discord settings, and you should get access. So come hang out with us, and we definitely appreciate everyone on our Discord server who helps remind us and make sure we don't miss anything happening in Boca Chica. If we don't notice that we should be live, our Discord, make sure we know. If you're wondering how long, again, we think they're targeting probably around the top of the hour, but with the wind right now, we don't know for sure they're actually going to be able to attempt that. We're going to have to wait and find out.
Speaking of other super chats, here's another one from Roberto Edwins. What role will Boca Chica have besides Starship development? I mean, development and launching, right?
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen if they will use it beyond development, maybe for like production launches, but for now it's mostly just for Starship development. That's the dedicated purpose of this facility, and that is a lot of action from the recondenser now.
Yeah, it is. Look at that. That's tank farm activity right there.
For sure.
That's fantastic. Here's another one real quick from What's Up With That? 99 cents Canadian. Thank you there. Eldon Crom says FLIR with a question mark. Eldon Crom, we've talked about this a lot. If you want a high quality infrared camera, FLIR is a brand name, forward looking infrared. But if you want a high quality infrared camera that gets good resolution at this distance, you're looking at tens of thousands of dollars. If you cheap out and you buy a cheapo, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 FLIR, you're not going to get a FLIR camera at that price point that gets actual accurate resolution at this distance. So one day will we have something like that? I mean, I'm not going to say no, but that is something that we have researched, and we looked at actual infrared technology that can handle the range so it doesn't get a bunch of noise between it and there. We don't want to cheap out on our cameras. So thank you for asking. It is something we've looked at. Here's one more. Christian Ollendorf Knudsen. As always, thanks for the coverage. You guys are the best. Thank you, Christian, for the kind words. Then over here, let's see, we've also got Carried Away. I don't know how the Kerbola Bears are doing Carried Away, but thank you so much for the 47 months. Squishchin, thank you for gifting a sub over there to Pi as well. I appreciate that, and I think I got all caught up. Yeah, I did. All right, good deal. So nobody, quick, no more super chats or anything like that. I'm all caught up. We're good.
We have a question from Peyton. Will we hear the siren? Yes. We've got a really high quality ambient microphone out there, and we will definitely pick up the siren on that microphone. And we will also be turning that microphone up for the hop, so we're going to get great audio of that Raptor engine firing.
Like this. You can hear the wind going, can't you?
Yeah, right now it's also a lot of construction noises because they are hard at work. Even though there's a hop about to happen, they still have crews building the prototypes to the next hops.
Yep. And we normally don't keep that ambient audio up too much. There's bird noises, there's backup noises. You can hear a lot of like AC unit buzz, that sort of stuff. So normally we just sit here sort of listening to it. But when we get closer to the hop, I guarantee you that we will crank that up so y'all can hear it.
Yeah, and if DOS and I drive you crazy, the Red Team and higher members do have access to a clean feed right now of just the ambient audio. We're not going to promise we're going to do that every time, but we are experimenting with that right now. So if you are a member, let us know if you like that.
Yep, that's what I was saying. I'm actually running 3 streams from the studio here. I've got one going to YouTube here, we've got one going to Twitch, and then we have a clean feed, a completely separate encoder that's pushing a clean feed. It's literally just the ambient audio and the raw video going to a members-only stream. So like Michael said, if you're Red Team or higher, you will see a link to that posted up, and if you don't want to listen to us talk, I understand. We talk a lot. It's not for everyone. We're not traditional, and now welcome to the Starship event, where it's standing like we're now Walter Cronkite or whatever. But if you wanted a quieter feed that just had the ambient noises of venting and birds chirping, that is available for members of the channel. And Michael, they like if somebody were to join the membership right now, they would be able to see that post, right?
Yes, it should be a post in your YouTube subscription feed that you see. If not, if you're a Capcom, if you have a Discord membership and you feel like Capcom and higher, you can also see the link in the Discord server. We could maybe, it might be worth looking into having a separate Discord channel that all the members can access, just for like important updates about the membership program. That might be an idea we look into in the future. Because I know right now the YouTube membership is like the members only live streams, the members only videos, kind of in beta right now. So there isn't a great system with YouTube yet to like put it into your YouTube feed as a normal video. It kind of shows up as a separate post. So that's something to be aware of. But it should be in your feed as a post that has a link to it.
All right. Hey, Pacofication, thanks for the sub there to 65 months. Can you imagine that somebody couldn't find the unsubscribe button and they kept showing up to my stream for 65 months? It must be really well hidden. Pacofication, I really appreciate the support there.
Wow, future
Whoa.
Martian.
Whoa.
Flight engineer.
Look at that. I'll put
That
it on the
is
screen,
crazy.
Michael. Yeah. That's the highest level of sub over on the YouTube side. That's the tippity top. Michael, why do we call them flight engineers? How do we come up with that name?
Do you want the honest answer?
Sure.
Because it's like a common naming scheme. It's kind of like an obvious thing. You should name it based on like the different tiers of the positions in a rocket launch. Or I think flight engineer comes from astronauts roles, but there's just so many other content creators that had tiers named in that convention that we didn't want to have it be exactly the same. So we looked at the marketplace and we said, what are some roles that people haven't used? And that's what we came up with.
Michael, how are you going to ask me if I want the honest answer? Like, you want me to say, no, I want you to lie to the live stream. What do you expect me to say?
We were trying to be original, but at the same time, we're not creative enough to come up with a definitely not obvious naming scheme to use. So we had an obvious naming scheme, and then we tried to pick more creative names out of that, like Padrat and whatnot.
Ah, yes. So we're still getting some venting over there behind the condensers. Let me check our modem situation right now. We're on 3 of 4 modems today. Right now, it looks like the Wi-Fi modem has gone offline. It's such a tough environment out there. It's tough to get those modems online. But 3 of 4, I think, would be nominal for now. We're good. So, what is? Did you see the tweet from Chris?
No.
Look, I'll bring it up on the screen real quick. Look at this tweet from Chris G, the assistant managing editor.
Wow.
For NASASpaceflight. We'll picture-in-picture this real quick.
Elon will approve of that tweet. I can tell you that.
Yeah, look at this, y'all. Where's my picture-in-picture button? There you go. Chris G is watching the stream in his Tesla, apparently. He's got one of the Teslas. He's out there standing by at the Cape, it looks like. Salcom coming up this evening, and he is watching the YouTube live stream on his Tesla. Can I zoom that in anymore? Yeah, I can. Look at that. That's actually pretty cool. That's actually pretty cool.
And wow, Tad Denton, welcome to Launch Director. That's also one of the top tiers. We really appreciate that support as well.
Yeah. Wait a second. I blinked and all of a sudden there's a stack of super chats again. We got far behind. I'll speed run some of them really quickly. David Luchetti, thank you so much for the support. Wayne Johnson, $15, and says, as I recall, the Saturn V crawler also carried a mobile gantry. That must have been the majority of the weight. It did carry a mobile gantry. That's correct. You got it, Wayne Johnson. Thank you for the $15. Tim Boselli, thank you so much, Tim, for the support there. We got Michael Kiram, new membership. Thank you. Sam Pat, little super chat. Thank you. ZO with the 20. Shout out from a place Zio, I appreciate you. If you're interested in advertising opportunities, please contact us at NASASpaceflight.com. Go over to the website and email us, and we have sponsorship opportunities if you are interested in getting a shout out. Thank you, Zio, for the support. Richard, greetings from East Anglia, UK, where it's 16 degrees Celsius. We appreciate you there, Richard. Tim again. Tim, this is Tim Boselli again with a few 3D prints. You can put the DJI ZenMoose 30X lens on the Sony thermal sensor using a Ryris Works. Wait, what? I'm going to save that and I'll Google that later. I appreciate the information and support. Tim, I'll look up what you mean by that. Thank you for the support, though. Fred Hill. Fred says, I've seen missile launches since the 1960s, but have never seen a launch like the Delta IV. What type of launch is the Delta IV in a hot scrub? I don't know what type of launch you mean. If you're talking about the Flame Festival, that hydrogen burn-off that happens when the Delta IV launches, that's a result of using liquid hydrogen to pre-cool the engines down, those RS-68As. They run liquid hydrogen through it, then it creates a cloud of gaseous hydrogen around the thing that gets lit by the ROFIs. The radial outboard firing igniters light that cloud of hydrogen before the rocket takes off. If that's what you're talking about, that's a nominal thing, but that's what we were looking at yesterday, like late last night, I guess. Not actually yesterday. It was a hot scrub on that Delta IV. But they'll get that back in another 7 days. Better to be on the ground wishing you were flying wishing you were on the ground. So I trust United Launch Alliance to get that bird airborne and put that satellite in orbit. Richard Palmer, another new membership there. Psychotic Wolfie says, hey, Scott, everyone donate because Scott is in this chat. Because Scott is in, yeah, it says chat there. Point of order, NASA Spaceflight doesn't take donations. We take tips. We're not a nonprofit, but we do appreciate the support. Those are not tax write-off. They're not donations when they when you give them to us. Sorry. Dr. Michelson also saying Scott Manley is here. There you go. Thank you, Dr. Michelson. Michael W. Dietrich, appreciate your job. Databiter, new membership. Mark Steven, new membership. John Chabowski, a big beefy super chat there, 1999. Ace is down, $10 for some data use. And Giancomo Santoro, just to pronounce my full name. Giancomo Santoro. Did I get close? I hope I got close. I try. I do try. Anyways, that gets us all cut up on that. Saber in space as well. 25 months. Thank you so much over on the Twitch side, Saber. Looking toasty out there. Saber would know. Saber is one of the camera operators that helps me with virtual field trip content when I go to museums, or he actually has been to a Delta IV heavy launch. He was at Parker Solar Probe down there with us. One of the first things I did with NASA's spaceflight from a live stream perspective. But Saber, it's toasty. It's like 106, 107 degree heat index at Brownsville. It's almost as bad as Spaceport America. Hope you're doing well, man. Thanks for stopping in.
This is the one part of the countdown where we kind of have to guess. And we don't really see venting from Starship anymore until the liquid oxygen tank is full and they start venting it to kind of maintain the current status of the tank as they have to boil off. But usually when a propellant starts loading, we don't actually see any obvious indications of that other than the tank volume going crazy. So it is very likely that propellant loading is underway right now, given that everything seems to still be progressing as you would expect.
All right, Michael, can you hold down the fort for a second? I'm going to go and refresh my vocal lubrication. I need to get a drink.
Go for it.
All right, I'll be right back.
John G, hey man, thank you so much for streaming this. So exciting, much support from Norway here, and it's 10 degrees C. Yes, we really appreciate the support, and I'm glad it's not quite as hot in Norway as it is in Boca Chica right now. And then David, welcome to Capcom. We really appreciate your support as well. I hope you enjoyed a Discord server. Brian asks, how many people work at NASA Spaceflight? It is a really large team. We have everything from forum moderators, to writers, to photographers, to reporters, to writers, to video editors. And then we have like the webmaster. We have people helping out all over the place. So it's really hard to define how many people we actually have. It's a very large team with a lot of volunteers helping out to make this happen. So it's a lot of people, probably like in the 15 to 20 range of key people, I would say. But it is a big team that is required to make this happen. Then Michael, welcome to the red team as well. We appreciate your support. Time-lapse Art is asking, what will happen with Starship by the end of the year? Really hard to say, but I think they definitely would like to get a hop of SN8 done to a higher altitude, maybe like 3 kilometers, 20 kilometers, something like that. That'll be super exciting. And then Elon recently tweeted that he's hoping to do a hop of a super heavy prototype with 2 Raptors as early as October. That seems a bit ambitious, but maybe that could happen by the end of the year too. Lots of exciting stuff planned for Boca Chica. And in fact, as I was mentioning when we were starting the stream today, SN7.1, which is not going to fly, it's a ground test article that's going to test the failure, but that test article should be going to the pad B, which is just to the right of the launch pad we're looking at now, within a day or two of SN6 hopping. So that's really exciting, and potentially after SN7.1 is done testing, SN5 will go straight to the pad. So they have lots of prototypes lined up here for testing. It's going to be a really, really busy rest of 2020 here at Boca Chica. Dougal, welcome back. Dougal is a big supporter, always shows up for pretty much every stream. He has sent Mary some pie, so hopefully Mary will like her 3.14159265. Benedict Van Harten, thank you for the 549 euros. James Owen, thank you for the $5. Good day for a launch. Hopefully the wind calms down, James, but it is so far looking good. We're seeing a lot of activity, and again, if you're just joining us, we are expecting a hop around the top of the hour, plus or minus a few minutes. The 10-minute siren will give us a better estimate as to when they are targeting. Space Pony, thank you so much for the $20. We really appreciate it. I can't be outdone by Psychotic Wolfie. So thank you for the $20. We appreciate it. ML from Russia with Love, thank you. Jorgen, thank you so much as well for the membership. And finally, Mr. Gonzonator, thank you for the £2. Love the show quality, but buy Michael a better mic. I'll work on it. Thank you for support. Commander, I'm not sure if SN8 is going to go to 20 kilometers or what exact altitude, but definitely a lot higher than 150 meters. That's a safe bet. Brian, is NSF going down for the next Starship update? Well, I mean, Mary is already in Boca Chica, so if they do an update on Starship in Boca Chica, at the very least, we'll definitely have Mary there. So certainly we'll be covering that. Christopher SN8 is the next prototype that will have the full-scale nose cone and aero surfaces. And we are now seeing the liquid oxygen tank venting. So that confirms that propellant load is or has occurred. They're now topping off the vehicle. Will continue to do so as that boil off happens. But Starship has been loaded with propellant, so that is super good news. a hop around 1 p.m. Central Time at the top of the hour, no matter what time zone you're in, does appear to still be on. So super, super exciting right now. Do not go anywhere. Potentially under 20 minutes away from a hop right now. Mark asks, what are the goals today of today's launch, and what are the major differences between this and SN5? So Elon said they want to just keep doing lots of small hops to get used to the launch sequence. We've seen them have a lot of scrubs in the past, so I think they just want to get a lot of experience with the entire launch countdown and the launch process. I think this is mostly just to get experience. It's going to be very similar to SN5's hop. There's not, huge notable differences between SN5 and SN6. They really just want to get more experience in the whole process of launching a Starship vehicle.
Hey, Michael, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. I got me a snack. I got me some sweet tea. Hit the head, so we're good to go. It looks like that vehicle started venting, huh? We're at prop loading.
Just talking about that. It is loaded with propellant.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm going to do a status check on all of the uplink here really quickly.
Meanwhile, Peter Johnson, thank you for the membership. And Leon, you also thank you for the membership. So much support right now, it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
Dawn, thank you so much. Let's hope for a good pop. Dave, thank you for the 10 pounds, we appreciate it. John O'Neill, thanks to the whole team. Don Carolio, thank you as well. I think that's Swiss francs, not mistaken. I might be wrong. Thank you so much. Michael Missouri, or Moseri, I cannot pronounce that properly. $2. When do you think we will see the first super heavy stack? Well, Elon said potentially a super heavy hop by October. We'll see if that actually happens, but potentially later this year. And Big Zarg, 5 pounds. Thank you so much. UK breakfast food. I don't know if I'm a fan of UK breakfast food, but Chris Bergen is from the UK, so maybe he's a fan of UK breakfast food. And Peyton's the siren is going to sound like a normal police siren. If you are from the US, you know exactly what that sounds like. If you're from a different country, maybe it sounds slightly different in your country, but it will. I'm pretty sure everyone will know that the siren is on when they hear it.
And I'm working an issue in the background, Michael, right now.
Cool. Das is our equipment wrangler, so it's his job to make sure everything is working. So that's what he's going off to do right now. Meanwhile, if you have questions, keep tagging us in chat at NASASpaceflight. I will keep trying to answer as many as I can before the hop occurs. Christopher SN8 will be the first full scale. I might have got that one already. Apologies if I did. Knight is asking for a demonstration of what the American siren sounds like for those in the UK. I am not going to do that, but if Doss wants to, he can feel free to do so.
Wee woo, wee woo, wee. Isn't that it? Like
something like that.
Is that international siren? When you hear that, you know that they're doing a police chase like in a country that's not the United States. I think there's like some more vagaries.
I think he wanted the American siren because he is from the UK.
Oh, the American siren. Yeah, I can't do that. No, sorry. Jeez. I'll have the sheriff at Boca Chica play it for you. You just stand by for a little bit, all right? Let me get on the text real quick and text him.
Maybe 5 more minutes or so, and we'll have that. We'll have the live demonstration.
I'm busy here. I'm busy. Doing modem things.
Yes, Robert, thank you for the super chat. I agree. I think it's just like some settings of my microphone that need to be changed. I was messing with that, and I'm going to have to look at that after.
Yeah, you're clipping a little bit. I think the big thing is you're going to have to start running a compressor or something.
Yeah. I mean, I can I can fix the clipping quite easily. I'm gonna try to do that right now.
Yeah, cool.
Wow, 549 Norwegian kroner from Glenn. We really appreciate that. You guys are awesome, and everybody should support the amazing work you do. Keep us updated on Starship development. Massive respect for Norway. We really appreciate that, Glenn. Thank you so much.
All right, and Michael, I got us 404, so we'll see if it sticks.
Oh.
That one Nighthawk is trash mode, but we'll see. They overheat so bad. Those things are so bad at overheating. I just bleh, bleh.
Yeah. It's not as simple as turning on the camera and letting the stream run. If you have never done this before, Mary has to do a lot of work to continually wrestle the modems to make them work when they don't want to.
Yeah. There's a lot of care and feeding when it comes to these 4G modems. For anybody that's curious, we use a device called a LiveView. LiveView is a company that makes news equipment. So if you've seen a stand-up on the side of the road, out at the storm, we're here at the hurricane, like that sort of news stand-up, we use the same sort of equipment. The company makes that equipment for the news, and we have a solution that bonds 4 different 4G modems together. So we've got multiple different networks, multiple different frequencies, and it uses all 4 of those connections to get this video signal to you. Nominally, I'm trying to push about 8,000 kilobits per second, which is 3.6 gigs per hour, to get the 1080 60 FPS video that we're looking at, and we're pushing 7923 right now. So that is what we are looking at. Every now and then a modem will hiccup. Some of the modems overheat and shut down. Sometimes the signal's not very good. Like where we are right now, AT&T's not so great, but another network's better. So I'm constantly watching the health of the modems and the signal on the uplink to make sure that at T-10, we're not down to 1 modem, right? Because if I lose a modem, this is designed to lose a modem, but I don't want to lose 2 modems, 3 modems. That goes to like an off nominal condition. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about modems and that sort of thing. There are... Mary actually has 9 modems, like 9 little hotspots with her, and 4 of them are being used for this camera feed right now. Wow. And then we have some that are backups, like if one fails or overheats or shuts down or bricks firmware or whatever, then we swap it in for another one. We have 2 of the broadcast encoders, so if this encoder completely overheats and just dies, we swip over to the other broadcast encoder. She's got 3 cameras out there, so... we're not a big, expensive professional news organization. We don't have budgets that are in the millions of dollars, but I tell you what, we make do with what we've got, and we have what we have because chat keeps showing up and doing super chats and stuff. So we appreciate y'all. I mean, literally, this is like grassroots news coverage, community news coverage. Again, we don't have an exact countdown. We think that the siren is coming soon. We did see venting from the vehicle. We've been sort of counting in our heads since the time we saw that venting from the vehicle, but SpaceX doesn't have like a big countdown clock on the side of the road or anything. So I'm listening very carefully for that police siren to sound.
Yeah, and again, there could also be built-in holds and whatnot, so it could take longer than we were expecting originally, because if everything's not right, they will pause the countdown until they get everything the way they want it to be.
Yeah, bump your volume back up half of whatever you turned it down, Michael.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about now?
I think we just roll with it at this point.
I can keep going a lot more if you want me to.
No. You're at the right-ish level.
Cool.
So again, we're standing by. We believe that there is propellant in that vehicle. That is Starship SN6. It's a Starship prototype. It's part of a Starship. It doesn't have the forward cargo area, and it doesn't have some of the aerodynamic surfaces that a final Starship will have. We're thinking, based on Elon Musk's tweets, that SN8 will be the one that starts to get those aero surfaces and stuff. But this is a partial Starship prototype. The fuel tankage and the Raptor engine tucked up under the bottom of it. There's a big empty hollow skirt at the bottom, and we are hoping that SpaceX gets this hop latest update on the weather here from the NASA Spaceflight Weather Center, which is just like my spare bedroom. We've got winds are still south-southeast at 20 miles per hour. So not a big update on the wind there, but there are still some pretty good wind speeds happening. And we think that may be the major constraint for a hop this afternoon are wind gusts or high wind speeds.
Yep.
And Michael, I've got my finger on the volume button for the ambient. If I hear any indication that there's a siren, I'm going to crank that thing up. So
Cool.
we don't want to miss it. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit right now. In chat, tell me, y'all should still be able to hear us. You should get a little bit of road noise and stuff like that in the background. But I don't want to miss that siren. That's what we're waiting for. That T-minus 10 minute siren is what we want to hear. And some forklift backup noises. I mean, we'll hear that as well. Hear you fine. Background's not too bad. All right, good deal. Sounds like a tractor or something going by. We have quite the backlog of super chats right now. I am going to hold on the super chats since we're expecting the siren. So instead of me constantly running my mouth, I am going to hold the super chats in the queue, and we will get them. If we hear the siren, we'll get them after 10 minutes after the siren. But think happy thoughts. Think calm thoughts, y'all. Think calm thoughts. Pretend that you're the wind and just be calm. Simmer down now. We want nice, easy winds to allow the hop.
Derek, if you don't want commentary again, we have if you're a Red Team and higher member, there is a clean feed of just the ambient audio.
Yep, that's correct. We have a feed that does not have commentary for members of the channel. Costs us a little bit to support that, to keep it going. And you can do that by becoming a membership, Red Team or higher. There is a live stream right now that is ambient audio only without our voices.
Well, we might be about to set the record for the most amount of viewers watching an NSF stream at once.
What are we up to? 35,000?
I think the record is 37K, if I'm not mistaken, from a SN5 scrubbed hop attempt. So,
well, it just crossed 36. So
yeah, hopefully we're gonna break the record and see a hop this time.
That's crazy. Folks, thank y'all so much for showing up and watching these streams with us. I mean, it's an honor that we're able to share this with you. We know that there's a lot of different things going on, but y'all taking time out of the day to come over here and watch some Texas tanks with us. We do really appreciate you. Ah, look at that.
And we just got a $100 super chat.
Whoa.
From, I'm trying to guess how I'm supposed to pronounce that name.
Leaf.
Okay.
Or Le One Girlfriend. I don't know. I'm gonna go with Leaf though.
After working on AVIT integration on oil rigs in the Gulf of Mexico, exposed to all the elements, I feel your pain. I hope this helps. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. That is incredibly generous of you, and it definitely helps. Your support definitely helps make what you're watching right now happen. And I'm sure these 37,000 people almost watching this right now also appreciate your support, because it helps this become a thing that we can provide to so many people.
Leaf, I did a contract for an oil drilling company once where we were trying to push daily safety updates out to the rigs. So it was all online. We had on the servers via this document storage platform, rich media videos, things like that people would have to keep up on their training. And I do not want to talk about trying to get anything concerning any sort of bandwidth out to oil rigs. I tell you that much. What a mess. You take for granted your office that has a nice connection, and it's like, well, we can only upload once a day at this time, and then you only get this much, and if you try to do this, it's going to take more than a day to actually upload. So I feel you there on doing ABIT integration on oil rigs in the Gulf. Good night, Irene. Thank you so much for the support there. Yeah, and we're continuing to watch that, getting a little bit of pixelation on the feed, but it's still going. God. I mean, I sort of feel like we're in a holding pattern. Everything seems stable. We're not seeing a lot of
holding of some sort.
Yep.
We haven't seen a detank yet, so it's still on as far as we can tell.
I haven't seen a bull snort. We have that one top tank vent in the background, left-hand side of hopper. There's that one tank that's venting upwards a little bit. Haven't seen a lot of activity from the vehicle itself, but it may be trying to maintain pressure or temperature inside the vehicle. Remember, they do not fill these things all the way up. There's no reason to fill it completely full of fuel, so we're not going to see the entire sides go frosty. So it is a little bit different than those cryo tests that we see sometimes. So hang on a second. What's going on over here? People be stopping by our... I thought we had somebody at the door. Apparently they let anybody into the live stream. Tim, buddy, how are you doing? Some love from Tim Dodd, the Everyday Astronaut, stopping by both in the chat with a super chat and also doing a tweet saying help NASA spaceflight break their stream record. They're about to pass their 37,000 live record. Pop in and help them break their record. Tim, thank you so much for the link and the super chat. You know you don't have to do that, but we appreciate you 110%. Thank you so much. Y'all, everybody here knows Tim, the Everyday Astronaut. Y'all already know Tim on that one. For real, Tim, thank you for stopping in. Let me see if I can pop that in the picture-in-picture real quick. Yeah, there we go. Wow, that's not the biggest tweet ever the way that I put it, but there it is right there. Tim, thank you so much. Help NASA Spaceflight break their stream record. We really do appreciate you, Tim. Thank you for stopping in. Yes. Hope y'all are doing well. For real, for real. Yeah, everybody over here. Yeah, everybody in chat knows who Tim is. Scott Manley's out there. Tim Dodd's out there. We're apparently approaching 40,000 viewers, which is sort of insane. Good grief. Who would have thought? I wouldn't have thought. Who would have thought? Michael, would you have thought?
No, I would never have thought this.
That's, we started a YouTube channel, what? Like, we started regularly posting videos late last year, so we're not even up to a year yet.
Yeah, Mary was just, I think the story of how the channel started is that Mary was taking so much footage that the NASA spaceflight, she was uploading it to the forums, but her file sizes were too big for the forums to handle. So Chris B just started posting it on YouTube instead, and that's how the YouTube channel started.
Chris B and Bandicam. Like, it goes back to Bandicam, which is not really video editing software. It's like a screen recorder. And so some of the first videos were edited together by Chris B, like NASA Spaceflight Actual, literally just playing the videos on his screen and recording them with Bandicam into one larger video.
Yeah.
God.
Wow. Yeah, and it's crazy how far this has gone, because this started, I think the channel was created in March or April of 2019. We didn't actually start regularly uploading until, I think, October of last year. So it's grown quite a bit since then. But wow, another super chat from Alan Gable, $50. We really appreciate that. Wait, they did 2 super chats for $50, I think.
Really?
Unless yeah, they did 2 different ones. So wow, that is also super generous of you. And like Doss was talking about all of our equipment earlier, we will put all of this to good work. It does cost a lot of money to get data from such remote locations, so we'll put it to good use, and we appreciate everybody's support.
Yeah, while we wait, since we're not seeing a lot of venting, Michael, do you want to try and get us caught up on Super Chats a little bit? Just speed run them?
Yep, we can do our best. They're coming in at a high rate. Let's see, I think Paula got that one already. Roseberg, hi from Brazil, Starship structure can't withstand a horizontal transportation. How will it withstand a belly entry? That's a good question. Thomas Burkhart, one of our reporters and editors, was talking about that yesterday. The forces of a belly flop are going to be distributed kind of all across the entire surface, whereas when it's being transported, it's probably going to be only a couple of attachment points. That's one theory, at least, but obviously they have analyzed the vehicle thoroughly, and SpaceX knows what they're doing, and it will be able to withstand a belly re-entry. Joseph Rogers, thank you, NASASpaceflight, for bringing us this coverage. We are all science geeks. I agree. John, sirens sound like Wii U. Well, I made a siren noise and it wasn't very good. GTW, what OBS software do you use? Layout is so clean. I think they're probably talking about the overlay that we put on top.
Yeah, dude, the overlay is you, Michael.
Yeah, the overlay is just a custom software that I built. It's not really OBS. It's basically a web interface that we embed on top of the stream. Yeah,
you bring it in as a browser source in OBS, and then we have a lot of other tricks and stuff like that we use for other cameras and yada yada yada, but the clean news style overlay you get, that's all Michael Baylor right there. So dude, Michael, I mean, thank you for all the work you've done on that. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, no problem. Carl, hello from Australia. Thank you for tuning in. We have people all over the world watching this right now, and it's super cool that SpaceX is getting so many different people excited about these activities. Alan, great job, guys. We appreciate it, Alan. Harold, thank you for the membership. Mac dude, don't tell Doss, but I'm glad you like Max. Small contribution to your Starlink sub.
You probably meant Big Macs. Come on.
Hopefully.
Go ahead.
Florian, thank you for the rocket emoji. Urbex Jordan, the only thing that intrigues me more than SpaceX is the company planning a launch of rockets in the UK. Yes. I hope we get to see a UK launch vehicle too. That's going to be exciting. Bill, thank you for the membership. Seth, thank you for this $5 super chat. Godspeed SN6. Matthew, thank you as well for the 10 pounds. Robert, thank you for the 2 astronaut emojis. Rocky, thank you for the membership. And I need a break.
Hey, I got it. It would just tag out. Here is one, Jeff Wildermuth. This is another one. It's a question. Do you think SpaceX will use Falcon landing legs on the Starship in the future? Elon tweeted something about going to a different leg design. I'm curious to see exactly what's going to happen on that different leg design, but they're going to be beefier than Falcon 9 legs, that's for sure. Greg, let's see here. Greg Dubiel, thank you guys for the hard work. We appreciate you, Greg. Ars Theo, smash that like button. It helps them get more views. Ars, thank you for saying that. LK, when can we experience this via Neuralink? Right now, only the pigs can watch it via Neuralink, but soon. Mind Technic, thanks for all the hard work. Hopefully there can be the first SN8 hop. Doug Johnson, new membership. Appreciate you. Bob Bodenberg, you do your thing, Bob. Don't want to miss the 2-minute siren. I'm going to keep speedrunning things. Games and Gains. It sounds like working out and playing video games. Thanks for all the coverage. It's been a long time since I've been excited about something great. Keep it up. We appreciate you, Games and Games. Matthew Becker, thank you. Biscuits Brown, new membership. Jason Christ, go Starship, you can do it. Thanks NSF for all you do. We've got Heather Nichols, view record smash, heck yeah. Geoff Barnett, we've got Geoff Barnett in there. Let's go SN6, thanks so much for sharing this. NASASpaceflight, we love you guys. Zach K, let's break that record, go Starship. Daniel McKim, keep it up. We will, Daniel. Thank you for keep showing up. Happy hacking video blog. Super cool. Cheers from Sao Paulo, Brazil. Very excited space nerds. SGFX, thank you, or good job, guys. Thank you, SGFX, for that 20 bucks. Mike Stevens, congratulations on a new record. Thank you, Mike Stevens. Christian Ivanson, new member. B-Skulls, take my energy. Nice. Give, please. Appreciate you, B-Skulls. Andrea Nassisi, I'm going to go with. Thank you. Thank you, Andrea, for the support. Eric Rain, Mars or Bust with the Hang 10 sign. Nice. TKD lover, actually. What opportunities does NASA Spaceflight have for people who want to help out? The best place to get involved is over on the NASA Spaceflight forums. TDK, you can post stuff up. If you have pictures, you have graphics you make, whatever you do, you help organize things, that's the place to get started. The NASA Spaceflight forums are a fantastic community of people who get into this. And sometimes we actually, from the forums, recruit people to help us out with other stuff, graphics, video editing, etc., etc. So being involved over on the forums is the #1 place to start. Stephen Rice, appreciate you. Thank you for that. Overlook Horizon, how are you doing? From the Space Balloons guys over there. Congratulations on nearly 40,000 viewers. You guys are awesome, and Mary is a warrior. Mary is definitely a warrior. She's melting out there today with that 107-degree heat index. Overlook, thank you so much for the $20. Hope you're doing well, and hope your coverage is going well as well. Super DJ Raza, I'm going to go with. Super DJ Raza, hi from England. Keep up the good. Seth Kirk, slobs. No. No. We don't use Streamlabs OBS. Bleh, bleh. Terrock, remember the Earth is... Yeah, no. Thank you for the support. You played yourself. Lonnie Gray, new membership. Batcam, new membership. Travis Thompson, $50. $50. Thanks for continuing to cover all of the coverage. We need news like this now more than ever. Travis, we hope you appreciate it. We know we're not standard news. We hope we're a little bit more engaging and interactive than the typical news station where we're standing by for the launch of Starship SN4+2 or whatever. We do appreciate the support. That is super generous of you. Alan Melson, thank you as well. What do we think we'll see for interior design? Let's get this thing hopping first. ZZ3 Astro, there's a membership. Georgia Sim Pilot, awesome job with the streams. Keep up the good work. We will, Georgia. Hello from Zimbabwe, from Wellington, Mombambi. I'm gonna go with John Gilbert. The Starship is empty. This is scrubbed. I don't know that the Starship is empty or not. We don't see a lot of venting from it, but we'll see. Again, we don't get official updates from SpaceX. They don't tell us exactly what's going on. They don't need a full load of fuel for this. So we will see what the deal is. And I'm almost done. Y'all can't outrun me. You can't out super chat me. I can talk real fast. Chris Hancock, $20. Thank you. Petru Radu, new membership. Lars Larson, SEK 50. Thank you for that. Rip Summerall. NSF needs merch signed by Mary. She has spare time. Funny you should say that, Rip Summerall. It's actually funny you should say that because NASA Spaceflight does in fact have merch that is signed by Mary. If you would like one of the fantastic sunrise prints, the sunrise prints on the store actually have Boca Chica gal down in the corner like her signature. Look, we're not going to give you her actual signature. We don't want you to like sign checks for her or anything, but the artwork, the sunrise artwork available in both prints and posters now on the store do in fact say Mary/Boca Chica gal on them. So I appreciate you. You gave me a good opportunity to plug the merch. Well done. It's almost like that was a setup. I don't think it was. Timothy, is OBS Studio better than Streamlabs? I use OBS Studio. Streamlabs is a little bloaty, if you ask me. Hunter Coots, thank you so much for the congratulations on 40,000 viewers. And then lastly, Jason Palia Ferrero. Appreciate the new membership.
Definitely seems like they're in a hole of some sort. It definitely should have hopped by now if they were, progressing without any interruptions. But we have not seen the two tanks, or the two vents near the top of the vehicle open up. So they have not shown any signs of depressurizing yet. So as of now, from what we can tell, the hop is still on. But they are definitely in a hole of some sort.
Yeah, if they were depressing the tanks, we would see the two top vents going off, and we have not seen the two top vents really start to go yet. So the only other thing that I could think of is if that vent that we saw on the side if that was from some sort of GSE, which I don't think is a reasonable guess here, because we do not believe that the ground service equipment actually extends up to the structure, that would have to be a vent from Starship itself. At some point, there were some sort of cryogenic fluids flowing into the body of Starship SN6 actual. So we shall see. What is this? I'm not going to let that one sit in the queue. ZZ3 Astro with $100. Celebrating 40,000 viewers. Keep up the good work. ZZ Astros, thank you so much for that support. That is crazy. You know, the way I like to say it, I say you're crazy, but you are kind of crazy. We would not be able to do these sorts of things without the support that y'all give us. And I know a lot of these independent creators, a lot of us independent creators are this way. Tim does stuff like this. You get Patreon accounts where you can sign up to get renders from Neopork. You get Marcus House making awesome YouTube videos, whatever sort of like grassroots creators, I guess you could say. We start these things up and we're able to keep doing it because y'all keep showing up and y'all keep supporting us. So none of us are big members of a media conglomerate or anything like that. None of us have millions of dollars in funding from some big network television or anything like that, but we still show up. We still make content, and I really do. It means a lot to me. It's an honor that you all appreciate it so much that you keep making it happen. So I will say from the NASA Spaceflight team and from a lot of the other content creators out there, thank you all so much for letting us do this. ZZ Astro, you're awesome. What are you thinking, Michael? We have a little bit of tank farm activity.
Yeah, I still think they're holding because we didn't see any signs of depressing yet. So it's, as of now, it appears to be on. Obviously, the longer it takes, maybe the more serious the issue is. But don't go anywhere right now because you could still miss a hop. That is for sure.
Yep. Whew. You can really hear those grackles. Chat, can y'all hear those grackles? Do you hear the noise that doesn't really sound like an old modem dialing up? Those are actually birds making those noises. We call them grackles. But they have like a really electronic, screechy call. Y'all can hear the grackles. Nice. Oh, top vents. You can hear them venting.
That'll be a abort.
I just brought the ambient up. You can see near the top of SN6 the two vents. They're coming straight at the camera. They look like little white clouds. You'd look for maybe like a Koopa Troopa in them or something like that, right in those little clouds, but you can hear them. I heard them in the ambient audio, and I knew that those two top vents were going off. That looks like an abort.
Okay, so as a reminder, they have till 8 p.m. to conduct the pop today if they're able to recycle. It usually does take, some time for them to be able to recycle that. We don't know exactly how long, but we don't know what the planet here forward is, so stay tuned and we'll keep watching this to see what happens.
Yeah. You can definitely see those two vents depressurizing. In fact, the wind is so strong today, you can see it blowing out to the side a little bit. You can see the wind effect on those vents, but that's a bummer. When we get to that point, we know that they are depressurizing tanks.
It's unclear at what point they had to do this. So we're not sure if it's going to be like a 20-minute delay or a 2-hour delay yet. We're not sure. So stay tuned, and as soon as we get more clues, we'll let you know.
Yep. I mean, we're not going anywhere. We're going to stand by and see what the status is going to be, but definitely not exactly what we wanted to see. Stay tuned. And the beeping. So I bet you there are some people in chat who don't understand why people are spamming F. People are like, what's going on here? Why are these people spamming Fs in chat? It's a video game joke. If you don't play video games, there was a video game that had this sort of controversial scene in it where one of your comrades had died. One of your platoon members had passed away and you were at a funeral, and the game wanted this interactive scene to be very immersive. And so while you're at this solemn funeral, the game displayed on the screen, press F to pay respects. And it's like, what? You want me to press F? What, am I going to salute or something? What is this? I have to press a button at this funeral in a video game? So when you see people spamming Fs, or if you see the phrase, press F to pay respect, the reference is back to a video game where the game actually thought it was engaging and interactive to ask you to press the F key on your keyboard at a funeral. That's the reference there. That's the reference. The chat means to pay their respects when they do this. So I know some people can think that that's a little bit, I think it's a little bit annoying. But now you know. It's people sort of venting their frustrations. Starship SN6 is venting to release the pressure. We were all under a lot of pressure here. We were all very excited to see this thing hop. And when Starship vents, you see the gases come out of the side. When chat vents, you see some Fs in chat. It's all right. We're just releasing our pent-up frustration that we didn't get to see a hop after sitting here for 2 hours and 52 minutes. Again, I will say, stick with us. I didn't see the bull vent. So there's a thing that we call the bull vent. There's a weird-looking vent on the left-hand side of the tank farm. And when we see the bull vent, when we see this special, it looks like a bull snort, like an animated bull snorting out of its nostrils, sort of downwards at a 45-degree angle. When we see that, we know it's going to be a long delay. As long as I don't see that bull snort, I'm still hopeful that this is a short delay. It's okay to depressurize the vehicle. The bull snort on the side, that's like depressurizing massive parts of the tank farm, I think. But a lot of times when we see that bull snort, that is a long delay. Until we see that, I am hopeful that this may be a short delay. We will see.
Yeah, usually when they're detanking, we see a lot of venting on kind of between the Starhopper and those black vertical tanks just to the right of it, and I think that's from part of the detanking process. And also the methane recondenser is not on right now. So I'm not actually entirely sure that this is a full abort right now. It could just be that they had an issue and they need more time, so they were venting some pressure. It's hard to say for sure, but we definitely normally see the methane recondenser going, and we definitely see more venting from the tank farm when they are detanking. So it doesn't appear that they're actually detanking at the expense of the pressure.
Yeah, like I said, as long as we don't see that bull snort, it seems that the tank farm is still in operation, and they were just resolving something with the vehicle itself, it looks like. I'll grab that question really quickly. Royal Clark asked, if I come to watch in person, can I be as close as the camera? For an event like this, the only people who would allow to be here are residents of Boca Chica Village, so the public actually has to watch from a little bit further away. You would not be able to be in this position and get this view. And remember, right now this camera is about 1.5 miles away from the pad. We just have a really long lens on it. That's why you get all that heat distortion. There's 1.5 miles of atmosphere in South Texas with a heat index of 107 and 85% relative humidity between us and the pad right now.
Yeah, we are seeing some venting from the far left now. It looks like it might just be from a tank, though, not something coming out straight out of the vehicle. So that's good.
All right, from the right-hand side, you mean, or from the
left-hand side by Starhopper?
Oh, from the left-hand side by Starhopper. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know that they're done here. y'all. They
Yeah, I
have
don't
lots
think-
of time in the
I'm
window.
not sure either. Well, apparently 8,000 people thought they were because they left, but I think the 32,000 people that have stuck with this might be rewarded. We'll have to see.
Yeah,
'Cause,
that's all good. That's what happens. I mean, we're gonna be honest. We're not gonna drag you out and be like, "Oh no, what? No, there's no abort. Stick around." Clearly, there was some sort of depressurization there, and like I said, as long as I don't see that bull snort, I'm still quite hopeful that they are rectifying some issue.
good things come to those who wait. Something like that to say.
It's the Texas telephoto. It's a 1.4 mile long lens.
The Starship is in Boca Chica, Texas.
That's correct. Way down on the coast. I mean, the border between the United States and Mexico is not a couple miles away from this. Let me look at my map real quick. But from the camera position to the Mexican border is 1.7 miles. It's nautical miles. So whatever that works out in landlubber miles, or whatever the difference is. It is the very southern tip of South Texas down there. Again, we're still seeing promising signs from the tank farm. We haven't seen a complete venting. We haven't seen a complete depressurization. We're continuing to stand by. We know that they started to fuel the vehicle. They got into prop load. Something happened, and they depressurized it. But we're still seeing encouraging activity from the tank farm. So stay tuned. In hop, we hope. Did we put this camera next to a bird nest? Yes, those birds make a lot of noise. Those grackles make a lot of noise.
I wonder if the wind has calmed down.
The tank farm doesn't look so crazy as before. Let me see if I can get a weather update. Aw. Michael, the heat index at Cabro is 109. 109 degrees Fahrenheit. It's 96 degrees Fahrenheit actual temperature. And with the relative humidity, it is a 109 degree heat index. Wow. The winds have picked up as well. Winds south-southeast at 23 miles per hour, gusting to 29 miles per hour. So that is that's a little crazy. 29 mile an hour gusts, sustained winds of 20 knots or 23 miles an hour to the south-southeast. I'm getting warning flags right now. That is toasty.
There's basically two things that could be going on right now. One is that they're in a hold and they're just, recycling some propellant. In that case, we could still be, 20 to 30 minutes away from a hop. If they are doing a full abort and they have to do a recycle from square one again, that will likely be a several-hour delay. So we're just waiting to see which option. But as of now, a hop could still be 20 to 30 minutes away.
I mean, one of the things is usually in the evening times. Somebody in my chat, Shy Gamer, was saying the wind usually calms down in the evening. So I know that SpaceX would go for the earliest available opportunity, but between the heat haze from our camera and the lighter winds in the evenings, I mean, I'm down for an evening hop.
Yeah.
Honestly, the heat distortion isn't that bad right now.
No,
Like
not
it
at all.
doesn't look as bad as I would normally think it would be, you know? Again, y'all, we are continuing to see encouraging signs from the tank farm. We do not have official word. There is a lot of time left in the window, but we haven't seen anything that we would say would be a full stand down. This is more like a temporary sort of, I guess, a temporary stand down. I don't know, full stand down, temporary hold, whatever you want to call it. We continue to see encouraging signs here.
And the ticker is turned off, which means whatever estimated T0 I had put in just got passed. There we go.
Wow.
200
Wait a
Canadian
second.
dollars.
Yeah. Hang on a second. Right before that, the Kerbal Fax over here did 99.99. Fingers crossed for a visit from NSF for Sentinel 6A at Vandy. Keep up the great work, team. Best from the O-Snaps crew. Hey, O-Snaps and family. How are y'all doing out there at Vandenberg? I've actually watched a launch from Vandenberg with them before. They were such fantastic hosts whenever I came out to Vandenberg. I would I hope that I can travel out there for Sentinel 6A. Vandenberg's a really nice launch site. I do like going out there. Oh, Snap and crew, thank y'all so much for the exceedingly generous $99.99 there. We really do appreciate you. For real, that is not playing around. Not even just that. I mean, you picked me up at the airport before so I could go out to Vandenberg. It's good to hear from you, senor. Thank you so much for that. And then right after that, one Canadian girl did 200 Canadian. So I'd love to watch a launch live, but it'd be quite the trip coming from Ontario. Always having the possibility of a scrub would make it an expensive trip for pretty much nothing. So live vids are second best. One Canadian girl, thank you so much for the 200 Canadian dollars there. I'll tell you one thing. It's nice to go down to launches in Florida because COVID aside, that's a whole different ballgame. But in Florida, there's lots of other stuff to do. The first launch that my daughter saw, and my mom was there, her grandma was there with me, we went to the beach. We watched from Playa Linda. It was an Atlas 541, and I was there to record it with my camera, and we went out, and it scrubbed the first day. And oh no, it's scrubbed. What are we going to do? We're at the beach in Florida. It's terrible. So there are definitely things that you can do to enjoy other activities in the area while you're down there. It is tough to do launch tourism with scrubs and unseen schedules, things that might happen that you have no control of, especially when you're traveling all the way out from Canada, coming from overseas. Believe me, I know that that is a very difficult thing. So if I can say one thing, it is possible to do some other enjoyable activities. If you have the capability, usually give them a week and they'll get the rocket off the ground. That's what they used to say for shuttle. Give us 7 days and we'll get this thing off the ground. But a little bit of an extended vacation, just going down for a weekend can be really difficult. But I definitely feel you on the difficulty. And I am happy that we are able to bring live feeds. But thank you so much for the 200 Canadian there. That is very, very generous. And we will continue to bring these live coverage and share it with everybody who wants to show up and see. We really do appreciate you. Whew.
Still waiting to see what happens.
Yep. Still.
Seeing...
Yep.
I'm not seeing any obvious indications that they're moving in any direction right now. Just everything is staying the same.
Again, y'all, we did see a depressurization. SpaceX took SN6 up. We know that they got into prop loading. It was holding for a little while, it looks like. We did not see an engine start attempt or anything like that. We did see a tank depressurization for an unknown reason. We don't know if that was due to winds or whatever, but we did see a tank depressurization. However, the tank farm has not shut down. There is still promising activity at the tank farm, and we are not giving up on this yet. Lots of time in the window, but I'm not even going to say to leave and come back in 2 hours. As long as that tank farm is still maintaining a little bit of activity, we are hopeful that they will continue. They will get back in the saddle and re-tank SN6. Still haven't heard that siren either. Uh-oh. Car approaching. Look, their vehicle's approaching the pad.
So they managed to detank without us noticing.
Yeah, drop the overlay if you could.
Yep.
Yep. So we have a convoy of vehicles. That SpaceX vehicle at the front. We've got a disco party chasing it, and a couple trucks and cars following it. A total of 6 vehicles going towards the pad. So now that the pad is not clear, that is a sign that it will be a significant amount of time. That right there is a clear sign that it is a significant delay now. So that's not what we wanted to see. That's definitely not what we want to see. What do you think they're going to do, Michael? Take a guess.
I think they'll probably recycle if the weather's okay later today. So what I would say is subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so that when there's more updates, you remember to tune in. Because it could be a bit of time here, but you know, whenever they do the hop, you can guarantee that we'll be here to show it.
Yeah. I will say Mary has been out there for hours, and in 109-degree heat index, I think this is an excellent opportunity for Mary to go get some shade, get some air conditioning, maybe get a snack. A cold beverage of some point would be good. So I do believe that with vehicles approaching the pad, that is probably an unfortunate sign that it may be best for us to shut down the live feed here and let Mary go and cool off. Do you think that that's an accurate guess there, Michael?
Yeah. I will text her a message saying if that sounds good.
Let's check with Mary herself and see if that's what she wants to do. Again, y'all, it's 109-degree heat index out there. Mary has been out there since early this morning watching for this, and if there's an opportunity for her to go in and get cooled off, get some lunch or something like that, we want to take it. We do not. She's not a robot. She's not like Mary Bot out there. It's rated to operate in temperatures up to 200 degrees F for up to 24 hours. Like, that's not how this is. So we really want to make sure she's comfortable and she has the ability to get cooled off, hydrate, get some lunch, and that sort of stuff. We're gonna confirm with her what she wants to do. So
yep, Mary wants to go get some food, and I want to get some food too, even though I'm not out in the heat. So I think we'll take a quick break, and if they do another test today, we'll be back live.
Yeah, so that will be the plan here, y'all. We are going to continue to monitor the situation live from Boca Chica, but for now, the NASA Spaceflight team is going to shut down the live coverage here. Again, we saw vehicles go to the pad. We saw vehicles go to the pad, and anytime vehicles go to the pad, we know that we have a couple hours before they're going to get back into it. So we're going to monitor it. Mary's going to get some lunch. She's going to get some air conditioning. Whenever we see that pad clear again, when we see those vehicles leave the launch pad, you can bet that we're going to go back live again and make sure that if this thing hops, you'll see it live right here. You know how to find the channel. Click on the button down at the bottom, sub. I don't know how many people have clicked like yet. It's 7,500. Can we get that over 10,000 before we shut down the stream? Make sure you sub to the channel. Make sure you turn on the notifications and get that notification next time we go live so you don't miss it. But let's go ahead and get Mary back inside. I will also say I know that there's a huge number of super chats that came through in the back of the queue here. Let me see if I missed any big ones. Alexander Dowding, thank you so much for the $20. I appreciate that. More fire, let's fly. Please dig deep. These viewers, folks deserve it. We appreciate you, Alexander. Thank you so much. James Spalding, there was another 20 bucks in there. We had Chris Johnson with 20 bucks. And again, I'm cutting it short here. Delta V2 TLI, 20 bucks. Buy Mary a cold beer, a couple of them for 20 bucks. And all the other super chats that are still in the queue there. We really do appreciate the support. But for now, NASA Spaceflight team here. I'm John Galloway with NASA Spaceflight. Also joining me today was Michael Baylor. Michael, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and I enjoyed hanging out, even though we did not see the hop, unfortunately. It's still fun to answer everybody's questions and whatnot and watch the activity at the pad.
Absolutely. And last but absolutely not least, Mary Boca Chica gal out there bringing in the live feed. Let's end this stream with some love for Boca Chica gal. Say thank you, Mary, in chat as we scroll this down, and we will continue to monitor the situation. And if SpaceX is going to hop it, you can bet you'll see it here. Later, nerds.
Pressure looks good.
Following up. Roger, roll, planet. Flight outside speed off.
Yikes. You bet. Concur. We don't need any more of these.